we're seeing from Nongshim, and I think a lot of it is going to need to be a lot more cerebral, I think, if they do want to take down Nongshim.
That's a really good point. You know, it's a very different set of teams stylistically. I think Nongshim do play like T1 sometimes in the right draft circumstances, but for T1's Academy roster yesterday, they kind of played only through aggressive lanes, right? And sometimes they didn't have a backbone of their composition. The Varus comp didn't work necessarily. They tried to run Kindred. It didn't work, but it was close to working, but they couldn't actually get their feet planted firmly on the ground in some of those fights, couldn't get the setups they were looking for. Nongshim will play through really strong win cons. They'll play through Scout's Lock. They'll play through Kingan's Gnar timings. Kingan's got a great champion pool. It will be a little bit tougher, I think, for Dudu because he's playing against a top laner who actually has a lot more variety in playstyle, I'd say, than Hete, who is kind of the strong side sword type only. Like, that's kind of how he is, and he's very good at it. And that's why they play through him. It is completely the opposite, though, right? Like, we were talking about Hete. This guy is an absolute god in lane. He is so incredibly oppressive when he is playing the first few minutes of the game. That is the opposite of who Kingan is. Kingan is, I'm going to trudge through this lane as best I can, but I will win you the game later on if I'm not too far behind. Absolutely. It's like the complete opposite of what Dudu had to deal with yesterday. It is certainly something that he's very familiar with, having played against him multiple times, especially recently in the Rise group. But also just throughout the years, right? Dudu and Kingan have been playing against each other for like half a decade. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how much tape we have of this particular matchup. And it's gone back and forth over the years as well. We'll see who's going to have the better form on the day. I mean, I think one of the most closely contested times for these two was when Kingan was on HLE, and it was very, very different way. It was post his DRX win, this 2023.
Sambil farming FGO.
And that was when they were really both super
Sedia FGO sebelum di pause gamenya.
Downs right now. There's no doubt that Kingan is a veteran and he is a world champion, but Dudu has also been so sturdy. He has been one of the more consistent players on this roster in their worst of times, right? Yeah. So I'm really excited for that top lane matchup. I'm really excited for Scout to go up against Closer, you know, two players with a very similar play style. It's going to be a good day here at the Kespa Cup Finals. Yep, also as far as the mid lane, two players who have a similar story, right? Both of them starting off playing behind Faker for a little bit and then going their separate ways. Obviously, Scout went over to the LPL and just kind of dominated, stole the hearts of so many of the LPL fans, and then has now finally made his way back home after many, many years of being extremely successful. Closer, on the other hand, he was actually actively subbing in for Faker, right? It wasn't just like a Kespa Cup game a million years ago like Scout. This was more of an experiment. Do T1 want to change their mid lane? And Closer has actually found his own niche, but we're going to welcome Nongshim first. Finding their way here to Daejeon.
Lupa Remion ada siapa playernya? Ada Scout, ada Kingen, ada si Diabel, Lehen. Jungle-nya lupa gue jungle-nya.
For getting them back on the right track and giving them an opportunity to change the tone, moving towards a potential berth into the LCK play-ins. Yeah, should come as a surprise to no one that this is Nongshim Red Force's main roster performing here. They're not going to be taking any liberties. This is so important to them. And like you said, it could be the beginning of a turn in the tides. Kingan with a bit of a wry smile there. When Kingan's looking happy, that means he's about to play a great series. It's terrifying. You know, we remember in New York, there must have been something there, like his favorite restaurant that he found or something like that. That guy was giggling, and we all know what happened. It was finals MVP. You know, like that's how it goes. But the DN Supers are just going to make this crowd erupt, actually. Kind of ridiculous. Like, we do not get this sort of reception for the DN Supers. It's been crazy to follow this team's struggles, but then successes, because they come into this Kespa Cup not only as unanimous prediction favorites. Not one person predicted this team to lose tonight, but as crowd favorites as well. And this has been something that's been trending. The further down the hole of that loss streak they went, the more supporters, the more followers they gained, because everyone wanted to see this team get out of the trench. Remember, many weeks ago, I said they're like at the bottom of a trench, and then there's like a small hole. They're struggling to get out below that.
But they're above water now. They're about to go to the top of the flagpole and grab that trophy
and get those 2,000 points.
Yeah,
or
well,
5,000. 5,000. Sorry, it's been a while since I played the original Mario.
I was playing Lost Levels a little bit this morning. Unironically.
Yeah. Wolf can always be trusted to play retro games.
At a moment's notice.
Thank goodness he was here getting those 5,000 points up that flagpole. I was going to make like a Mount Everest reference, but I actually feel like getting a bit of Mario in there makes a whole lot more sense when we are here at the Daejeon Dream Arena,
It's where dreams may be made here. And again, you talk about Closer trying to get his second title. Look at the Freaks legacy here, now called Supers, of course, looking for their second Kespa Cup win. You're looking at Closer. He is a player who's never been able to actually have that moment to be recognized as I am the best mid laner at this tournament. It's me, I did it, I won it. Lehen's potentially playing in the last real chance he has. If they don't turn it around after this, if he loses here, momentum continues to shift. They don't have that playoffs opportunity. He doesn't have the opportunity to go to Worlds. For him, it means so much.
The favorite is Nongshim, but I think DNS can win.
It is almost his last week of his career, Wolf.
Yeah.
Like, that's the ridiculous thing that we might have to actually face.
Semoga kagak ada problem lagi ya.
Starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
5 days and then we might be just without Lehens, which is just kind of devastating. No matter how you slice it. Obviously, KMDRX could be the other team that aren't making it to the play-ins, but it's one of those things that we do have to prepare ourselves for, and also we'll need to be in the back of our minds as we watch to see whether Nongshim can find that little extra taste of glory here before they do end their season.
It's just absolutely crazy to me that that could be the case. It hadn't dawned on me to think about it that way, that it could be the end of Lehens next week. You hurt my feelings.
I know, it's the end of an era, man.
The fact that jangan pause, please. I'm capek,
just makes you realize that he debuted with Griffin. Like, oh man, our days are numbered with some of our favorite players, but let's not get into that.
Bisa join turnamen tier 2 ya? Gak bisa, orang tahun kemarin aja Faker ikutan menang.
It's gonna be horrendous.
It will be awful. So let's talk about.
I have something that I do want to talk about. That's a little
Bayangin Raja terakhir ikut Piala Ciki, agak crazy kata gue mah. Udah kayak Magnus Carlsen ikutan 17 Agustusan guys. Tahun kemarin tuh Faker.
But Sponge has really been struggling.
I think there are, in the LCK and in Korea here, two types of junglers. One jungler leads the tempo, and the other type of jungler, which can be equally as successful, often follows it and counters it. It is a bit of a sword and shield. Sharvel is the sword, the spear, the
5 game dan setiap gamenya 1 jam pause. Kemarin tuh sakit pantat gue. Untung bukan 5 game ya.
He is the aggressive type, and Sponge is often the type of player who helps his laners and is more util for the rest of the map in the early game. He doesn't often lead the tempo. Not to say that he can't, but that's not necessarily his play style. So it's a stylistic mismatch that, if used correctly, I think Sponge could actually have an edge here if he knows the tendencies of his opponent, has been studying his pathing, studying his tendencies. Sponge might be there to counter gank, might be able to set
some traps for him potentially. But otherwise,
I think this is potentially going to be a jungle gap, right?
Lawan Genji mereka menang, kocak. Chofi udah lawan Chofi dia menang.
So that is a really good matchup that you mentioned that
ada Chofi kok, ada Chofi.
And the beauty of Nongshim is that they have Dandy at the helm, right? And this guy is a legendary jungler, world champion of 2014. And I think that if there's anyone that can coach Sponge into understanding what he needs to do in this series, it's Dandy. The question is, are they going to be able to equip him correctly in the draft in order to make that work? Yeah. And that could be the very difficult thing, because we've seen a lot of teams really struggle to find the right drafts for the way they want to play the game and to counteract the way the enemy wants to play. And I'm not saying that it's easy. It's a very difficult task to do.
Iya, tim inti itu Genji, si Chofi, Ruler, Duro main semua.
It can be very tough, you know. Yeah. I want to talk about the bottom lane now a little bit, because we talked about jungle, we talked about top a lot, but Bottom lane, I think, is the best angle of attack for Nongshim Red Forest. Even though Dukdom and Peter are looking better, their laning phase is by no means robust or
I would agree.
Or perfect. You know, they're not quite at their form where they were world finalists last year, but they are looking much better. Diablo is incredibly aggressive. Lehens loves to, if he can, win lanes and get Diablo fed, but he also likes to roam, so finding those moments of when do you find the all-in, when do you try to punish Diablo when he's left alone, when Lehens is roaming? When is it for Lehens best to actually not roam and stay in lane and make sure Diablo can actually play through that 2v2 but get sponged down there? These are decisions that will really impact this series because I think that Diablo is much more an important piece and a much more hyper-carry type player than Dukdom is, who often is a hyper carry in the right conditions, but they don't necessarily always play through bottom lane. They often play through doo-doo. They often play through closer. So maybe if you think, okay, we're going to play through top side of the map, that could be an angle of attack for Nongshim to get Diablo fed, and maybe his impact might be greater than Doo-doo's if that's the push and pull that we see here in the tug of war of which side you're playing through. So strong side bottom for Nongshim is what I think is going to be the best game plan here.
Yeah, I would agree. Actually, the way that I sort of want to frame it in my mind in order to set us up for this series is that Diablo is probably the most talented player on the Rift today. And I don't think it's very close. I think this guy he's worthy of that prodigy status that we gave him when he was back on Live Sandbox at the time, but of course, now BNK FearX. After this trade, I really felt like Nongshim were going to start taking off, but unfortunately they've been unable to wield Diablo in a way that's been effective
diundur tahun
for this
depan ya,
squad.
It's like he's a Pokemon that's too high level. They don't have enough badges. He doesn't always get to
struggling and falling asleep and stuff. Oh man.
Soalnya gue udah ngajuin
Why didn't they just make
izinnya.
sure that their trainer ID matched up, Wolf, and then it would have been all fine?
I think that there is a realistic chance that we see in the series itself almost decided by whether or not Diablo is played through. Because I think you can play through King, and in the past many teams have. I mean, he was a World's Finals MVP because of it.
They have two of them. And Scout was a World Finals MVP as well in the year before that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If they try to play through King,
belum mulai udah ada problem lagi Disney, cok. Kocak.
In this series, but if you do it if your game plan is to play through King in here, I think that you
Bang,
will find,
buru bang, drapik bang.
that they do not like the result of that, especially with
Bapak
right
dalangin
now,
popcorn, biar keren.
Being a neutralizer. We've seen it with his Jax yesterday, where even though he was 2,500 gold down as the Varus,
Akhirnya mulai.
took over the game with his side laning. Here we go. It's happening. We're in draft.
Yep, into the pick and ban for game number 1 of this grand final. DN Supers will be on the blue side, first pick going over to Nongshim Red Force as they qualified to this position first. They did have right of first selection, and so they will be selecting their champions first, banning things away first, and already we're seeing a few junglers removed, as well as that Lucian that has been a mainstay in the ban list for the DN Supers no matter who they've been up against. Nocturne also going to be taken away, so Cassiopeia and the Orianna both to be considered right now on both sides.
Yeah, that's a big push here. Are they willing
Di
to give
ENC di Desember makanya Kespa dimajuin.
If they just ban something similar, or sorry, something completely different and trade it.
Di mereka nggak ada briefing dulu kah?
Choice here as well. You could ban Karma, for example, if you want to make sure that you can
Dia
follow
langsung
the
dapik.
bottom lane. Banging the Shen, also pretty good. Camille, a little bit nerfed in some senses as in the support role. I don't think it's changed that much personally, but not as much of a big threat.
Kiananya pakai langsung nggak sih sponge?
So
yeah, wow.
I mean, Lehen says, I'm with you. It's not that big of a deal. But this will mean the Cassiopeia does go over. And the Orianna, as a response, doesn't have that Nocturne, nor does it have the Jarvan as a ball carrier. Sharvel loves his Lee Sin, so they are considering just dropping the Cassiopeia entirely.
Kami lagi.
A Camille that can lock you down no matter how mobile you are. I find that a bit worrisome.
Itu kucingnya lagi pull up ya.
This is an interesting choice. The Jhin would be even
no
less
pain, no
fun,
gain.
in my mind, but they will be able to lock that one away. Is it just going to be like a Jhin bot option here? I hope not.
I think it will.
But Cassiopeia, Orianna, they have to choose one. I think that they need to work out which one of those coveted mid laners they are going to play in this moment. Although I guess you're not going to pick both of them.
If you go Bard, then they can't
Jin
they won't be able to get a mid laner if they want to actually
mau dilepas, mau dibuang anjir.
Let's see what they end up doing here. They are going to ultimately go for the Cassiopeia, but I was worried
they're going to throw the Bard.
They would have to give up so much to lock the bottom duo to make sure that they could protect this, and then they lose jungle prio, and it would have actually affected the draft in a way that could have really hurt Nongshim, but ultimately the Cassiopeia is going to do a closer goes with here. I think it's just too powerful. And most teams agree, as the Orianna will be picked up here as an obvious response, but the question becomes, what is that jungle pick?
I don't know, Caitlyn.
And instead, it's just going to be Kingan's Olaf.
Oh my goodness, it's the Olaf and the Camille both coming in at the same time.
Bisa ditinggal
Interested to see whether Kingan is going to have a good time in this matchup, whatever it is. As the DN Supers do have the opportunity to counter it if they would like to. Lee Sin instead going to be looked at, and then they can target the jungle to really make things as uncomfortable as possible for Sponge. I actually really respect this game plan here from the DN Supers to try and get Sponge as uncomfortable as possible at the beginning of this game. But it is a gamble because Orianna and Olaf for both Scout and Kingan is one hell of a risk to take.
Not to mention that you're going to need a strong roaming support to be able to pull that off, because Lehens will also be protecting the Orianna for a lot of this game in the mid lane, as he'll leave Diablo with pick unknown currently to probably play just by himself down the bottom side. The Jax gets taken away with this Olaf blind pick with no response. We might see that Kled ban that's been so popular, but it also could just be an Ambessa ban with the composition that they have. We'll see what their preference is here. As the Kaisa has been removed. They just don't want any more dive follow-up to this comp that has the Camille and the Olaf rushing through, and even the Kaisa will be able to follow so easily.
I think it's kind of an interesting Kaisa ban, just because you don't have like, Shens and things like this that can really make Kaisa uncomfortable. Kled getting taken away, though. It is both of the best counters we've seen so far into the Olaf removed. The Vayne is still there, but I kind of hate it in this draft unless Peter is going to play something like a Nautilus, which would weaken the Jhin bottom lane. I expect Peter does want to play Bard here, which I'm not massively enthused about.
I think it's that Ambessa that I was talking about earlier. It's been our most picked champion by a large margin here at Kesper Cup.
Yeah, true.
And that will continue.
Sharvel sama SpongeBob mending mana kayak? Wih, Sharvel jauh.
Pull the trigger on that. And so
SpongeBob ini hoki kocak dapat tim jago. Bisa-bisanya ada Spong di Nongshim.
Ezreal looks to be the choice here with the Camille, and the Kaisa was banned away. And it's ironic that the Ezreal was always going to be playing into a Jhin here, but they grabbed into Fury as the jungle pick, which is a pretty decent ball carrier. This draft, though, to me says we are playing through Kingan, right? We are going to play through that top side. Lehens is going to be roaming, and Diablo's just going to be down into a Jhin.
Gameplaynya mirip si Gideon. Gideon, Wheeler, Vincenzo.
Based on the conversation we had just moments ago, I think Kingan's Olaf is very good and can be a win con here.
Yeah, I would agree. The Rel, I actually like this a lot more than the Bard that we did see yesterday from Peter. The Leona, very similar story. Peter does have a lot of engaged potential now with this champion, and I like the Leona lane a little bit better than that of the Rel. I feel like Rel definitely is very powerful in team fights.
Bagus banget dia nice pick-nya. Tapi Orianna,
if we had a different top laner in this game, you know, not the Ambessa, but you know, like a Kled or a Jax or even a tank in this top lane, I would have been all about going for a different pick here than Leona. I would have been like, okay, Bard works. You know, you can set up the fight, you can buy time, get your tank into position, but trying to combo the Bard, especially with, like you said, Peter's performance on it with the Ambessa, is just really tricky. Whereas Leona
ketebak sih tadi. Kalau gak Ziggs pilihannya Ezreal soalnya. Kalau bareng Camille tuh Ezreal, Ziggs, itu juga bisa. Kaisa, Caitlyn. Kemarin sih gue lihat ya.
Nearly impossible to kill Olaf. And if the Olaf gets ahead, the Jhin cutting through the health bars is going to take so long. Same with Closer, it's going to take a really long time to actually get that damage online to be consistent enough to break through. I worry. I actually do think that playing through the Olaf in this draft makes sense. Let's see what Diablo can get done, as he's going to be a bit of a passenger until he hits 2 items in this game on the Ezreal. Yeah, but I like what they're doing here with this draft. If they get Kingan ahead, I think it is going to be very hard for DN Supers to cut him down.
It's going to be very scary. I think that Doctom's positioning is going to be pivotal as well. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get onto the riff for game number 1. The DN Supers versus Nongshim in the grand finals of the Kesper Cup 2026. do not have fan chants, so it makes me very confused as to what to do after I do that intro. But
yeah, it kind of got a late.
I thought that there
was something. Yeah, we did. We had a little late one there.
Okay,
but it's okay.
No, I'll get the cheers. It's fine. Game number 2, I will make sure
Leona bisa menghentikan dominasi Kamil. Oh iya bener ya. Tapi masalahnya Kamilnya gak mungkin ada di lane anjir. Leonanya harus ikut.
And as far as early game is concerned, and these lanes and what they're going to look like, I don't think it's necessarily a shutout in a lot of these lanes. I do kind of like what Nongshim have in the mid lane, a little bit of extra range from the Orianna, and the Olaf can be very, very scary no matter what stage of the game it is, as if you hit undertows, you kind of can just hurt people. It's just how it goes.
Dudu pakai skill Doran,
right now, Dudu is doing great in the matchup. A little bit worried about the bottom side for Nongshim, though, because I do think that Jin Leona is going to have a bit more power than that of the Ezreal and Camille.
Leona was considered one of the other counters to the Camille for a really long time before Shen got popularized again and was the main response. But when Shen was banned, Leona was often that response pick because it's very easy to turn the engage around on a Camille so quickly when you go for that stun, as Closer has a huge advantage here.
Yeah, Closer is actually just doing a phenomenal job on this Cassiopeia, landing these noxious blasts. His scout is just being poisoned and forced to walk away. Will he have to? Yeah, I think he has to teleport back to lane.
Yeah, he has to. He can't stick
He's going to miss this cannon. So is Closer, but he at least gets the experience for it. And I will never forget the Aframu quote when he was asked about missing CS, and he's like, no, it doesn't matter how much CS you miss, as long as you make your opponent miss more.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Lehen's is going to come up
here. Tuh kan, langsung nge-mid Kamilnya. Set, kena stunnya. Wah, udah mati. Buset, anjing. Lehen, udah sinting. Kak, pelan-pelan bang, pelan-pelan. Kebelet pensiun ini si Lehen, cok.
Yeah, Scout gonna try to freeze this wave here towards his turret, so we could see some potential.
Kebelet pensiun nih orang, kacau aja.
Did Lehen's auto the turret just once for fun?
I'm not sure if that is actually the case. I did not catch that part.
Maybe we'll see the replay and we'll see whether Atlas is just a moron or not.
This is not ideal for Scout because 2 health crystals picked up here for Closer means he's so tanky so early here. Not able to get a catalyst or anything off of that back, but he's in such a good spot here. Okay, we're gonna have more action on the bottom side.
Yeah, Lehen's looking for an angle here. Hextech sweep onto Docdom as Diablo chasing after
him. Docdom, okay, nice escape. That was pretty good escape.
To escape. Uses everything, but will be able to get on out of there.
Oh tidak, guys. Kayaknya kita bakal mulai di raid deh. Ketahuan jir, shit lah. Aku melihat Hanul mulai datang, so shit. I mean, I kinda use an obvious thumbnail, so maybe I should change it.
We'll now have this back where he can actually pick up real items, gets an amp totem, gets those boots, so we'll be feeling a lot more comfortable now to dodge some of those blasts. And now, what happened before with Lehen's dying there really meant that Closer was going to be able to keep pushing that lane. Scout was trying to freeze it, but they needed some help, and they did break him out of that. And I do think that was the right call there. So Sponge doing a great job in this early game.
Yeah, he is. Closer, though, as a result of this, not exactly all that punished, right? Like, he got the kill, so he got that extra money, and then made his way back to lane with a teleport anyway, right? The early game death time is just aren't very long.
Tahun ini top laner LCK banyak yang FA tuh.
Closer is feeling absolutely fine in this lane. Dudu also performing very well up against the Olaf. This is a lane that has gone either way, right? Ambessa isn't necessarily considered the answer to the Olaf, but still going to be quite dangerous, and Dudu is navigating the lane exceptionally well. Still looking for that first item, Power Spike, where the Ambessa will get very difficult to deal with here for Nongshim.
Closer's going to go for another back here after pushing that wave, grabs his mana crystal, and will return to the lane. So pretty interesting. The timings of this still maintains that advantage you were talking about here, but really wants to get these minuscule advantages in terms of items here to continue to lane aggressively against this Orianna pick. As this Jin lane is not working out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah. Diablo, we mentioned it before.
Emang se-OP itu Cassiopeia ya, landingnya susah banget lawan champion itu, coba padahal udah di-gank tadi. Apa sih udah di-nerf kah? Belum.
Like you were saying,
Katanya sih sepatu ADC yang mau di-buff nanti. Gak tau kapan.
Yeah, I would say that one's a pretty good one. It doesn't last very long, however, it shone brightly before it was then taken away.
Yeah, it did its job incredibly well there, as Lens will clear a second here on this Dragon. And they're going to start the Dragon up with these back timers here. You know, closer backs again in the mid lane here, and they're going to back, obviously, the bottom duo here in that exchange. So this means a free Dragon here, and nothing on the cross map as DNS are just in base, and Lens and crew are going to be able to pick up a nice little advantage here with this Cloud Dragon.
Yeah, Kingen taking a bit of damage here as Dudu is actually looking for an angle.
Kena semua. Shield.
Incredibly low, does get the shield, but oh man.
Yeah, now he's zoned away from some farm here. Does not have teleport because he's Olaf. Goes for the ghost, waiting for that role quest means he is going to lose a lot of money from this, and that's a huge win on the trade there for Dudu. Had the wave in such a good spot. Now Peter looking for a Hex Splash play.
Yeah, Hex Splash is in early here, but Scout is able to just walk on by. Closer gets another crash into the turret. Yeah, Sharvel is just taking stuff.
Agresif ini, Lisin mantap, dapat tempo.
You know, they had that all-in onto the Olaf. They know there's no jungle for assistance, and then Sharvel's just like, all right, Peter, let's take this jungle. Let's stick together here on the top side. And they're playing through this Ambessa, and I mentioned maybe they'll play through Kingen. It's what it looks like is going to happen in this draft. But with Sponge taking that bottom side Dragon, Kingen takes a huge hit, and DNS have so much power now on the top side of the map.
This is crazy, the advantage that Sharvel picked up, though. He's got his entire top side of the jungle to pick up, and he is actually just going to leave it and make sure that he can get to this bottom side clear to avoid being counter-jungled himself.
And he's got vision top side, so he knows that if Sponge goes over there to try to take his jungle, then Dudu will be able to back him up with the control he has. And speaking of, I mean, Olaf is just really trying to get the minions, and Dudu is denying that. Flying colors here as Lehens is going to try to look for a play, but Dudu pathing carefully, maybe not.
Yeah, Lehens will be able to move his,
nice
way on over, but the wall dive is not going to connect. Yeah, I think that he did.
Lebih kemis sih si Lehen.
Looked for a moment like he didn't, and then when you watched his reaction, he definitely did.
Alright, Kingen taking some damage here. Dudu is going to look a little worse for wear himself, but still.
Kayak paling aman ambil aja Kiananya sama si Sponge. Kalau kagak mau ke Bantai mah, just take the Kiana, Sponge. Sure, oke, Insect. Wah, kombonya clean banget, kagak gerak itu Oriana. Jadi patung aja si Scout. Scout just become a freaking statue. Oh God.
It's just the top side is just absolutely having an amazing day here in this first game. Peter has his ultimate here still.
Kagak gerak itu anjing. Ah. Gila, Peter lagi on fire ini. Buset. Oke, galaknya. Bang Peter kasih tau Bang Peter. Gokil Bang Peter. Aduh.
They're feeding the snake in this one.
Halo Kingen.
Kingen also alone here now.
Yeah, Dudu
gonna stop this fight up. Kita nggak bisa. Wajing miss. Kingen pakai ulti tadi, makanya nggak kena public execution.
Forget DNS not being in play-ins, man. This team should have been the legend group, Atlas.
Yeah, I think that I think Orcs had it right, and I think they should have just gone to Worlds.
Look at how,
I think that's how it should have gone.
Look how Crispus engages, and by the time the Orianna shows up, by the way, they spot this out. They put the miasma on the ground. Lehens is the target.
Lehen on fire banget sih. Kebelat menang nih.
Orianna, they take him out first.
Sasuga MSI MVP. Lehen.
That's another bad story here for Nongshim, as the money obviously is not going over to the Orianna, which they would have loved to have in a trade. And man, DNS are so powerful right now. This Olaf is not a win con anymore. I talked about if he gets ahead, it's so difficult to cut through his health bar. He is pretty flimsy right now, and it's still a while before Diablo is going to be able to hit that 2-item spike, because it's weak side Jin here for Duckdom. And then he's just been left alone, and Diablo's getting small advantage, but that means way less than the top side advantage that DNS have stacked up right now. And we know Diablo can carry. That's his thing. He loves Ezreal. He's super good at it, but I think his spikes are going to come online a little bit too late to save this game if this continues.
Clear wave pakai ulti, dihalangin jir.
Going to hit Duckdom here as they were looking for a dive. Duckdom knew it, that's why he wanted to clear out the wave with that
Sharvel. Oke, langsung tendang Q, kena. Tapi tebal banget tuh. Buset.
8 seconds if he wants to pick it up, but he will be able to survive. As now the wall dive is going to do a better work here to Peter, but the Eclipse and the Aftershock will keep him alive. Duckdom still going home. Peter possibly left to the Wolves here. The Wolves call Diablo, Sponge, and Lehens. Let's see whether he can survive.
It is a Leona, so I don't know.
It should be easy for Leona, right?
Lehens has been this Leona many times. He knows it's probably not for the best to target down one of the tankiest and most difficult supports to kill in the game under turret with CC available. He did have both his ultimates on.
Solo play was sick! Dom looking for the angle. 2 more bullets left. Hextech ultimatum.
Nice.
Dom says, yeah, sure.
Kena kill.
I'm down to go for that one. Gonna nail the Sonic
Okay,
Wave.
cleanse.
Has to cleanse to get out of the deadly flourish. And the DNS
kill Sharvel, jago banget.
They are just starting to win everywhere now. Studio here on the
Emang
top side is trying to take this turn
jungle.
out. Keegan doesn't have his role quest completed. No, neither of them do. But that means he can't teleport back in still, and he gets pushed out of the lane again as they try to make the bottom side play fail, lose someone there, and will lose the first turret of the game here on the top side. And this gold lead for DNS continues to grow.
Yeah, and even though the turret doesn't go down just yet, it will. Because there is no one coming up to bail Kingen out. Yeah, you do see Lehens trying to make his way up now, but I have a feeling there will be a crash, and Sharvel is in position to deny the inside track as far as access to that lane. And so Dudu should just be able to make his way over here and get a couple of autos in. Kingen is going to block him off and does clear out the wave, but Dudu does just want to kill this. Should be able to get it done. The Ragnarok has been popped. Public execution.
Iya, public execution maju tapi gak kena CC soalnya Kingen ada ulti.
They do find the Zenith blade as Kingen trying to run his way
Sharvel?
out. Lehens is going to be the target. The black forward and Dudu just
Kena,
executes him.
gak kena cuy.
A solo kill onto the Olaf, and Lehens
Ada Diablo.
just barely survives. Diablo trying to get on over here,
gap,
but Eclipse
anjir.
is one heck of a button to press.
Buset, Diablo, sakit jiwa lu Diablo.
After he waits out that ability, a solo kill in the end.
Diablo.
Who really wants to get themselves back into this series.
It's really important that he gets that
Oh
money
my
because he's
God,
getting close to
ini
that
dia
2-item
Diablo.
spike. A Sponge is over here, but a bit cut off from Diablo.
Yeah, 1 versus 2 is something that
Hey,
this
gak bisa,
Doggo
gak
does
bisa,
not want.
bisa.
He cannot go
Aduh.
untargetable forever. Wanting to
Davin
bounce
lo,
off
gak bisa,
the
gak bisa,
will be
Jin.
able to do so, but Dudu is not going to bite off more than he can chew. Knew that the powerful Ezreal was there towards the top side and does back away.
Yeah, that was a very cautious decision there from Dudu. I think most players go in on that, but he decides it's too risky. He doesn't want to feed the Ezreal any further. It would have been a risky play to do so because he doesn't have his ultimate, doesn't have his flash anymore, so does back off of it and ultimately does survive, but isn't able to get more than that. As down here on the bottom side, Scout's picked up a lot of extra farm. He has actually evened up, in fact, taken an experience lead in this game, but still finds himself 1,000 gold in the hole. And it's only this Ezreal that Nongshim have now to play through. They have a frontline for it, even though the Olaf is behind. But I think what they need to do now is just kind of slow this game down and play through the Orianna wave clear a little bit. It's Chemtech Soul
Look kinda
and they're the
GG,
ones with
chat.
double
What do you-
dragons,
what
so
do you
just trying
think?
to play a little bit more passively here, I think is definitely the way to go. As even though Sharvel 0-0 and 1 in this game, his impact has been incredible.
Sharvel is just that strong.
Out of so many strong positions they were in, and Peter has been the more successful jungler in this game as he's having an out-of-control performance on this Leona, always where he needs to be, having these fantastic engages. And I think Nongshim just need to slow it down and stay away from that Leona in any way possible.
Okay.
Peter is going to tell
Kita
them that
langsung
it's going to
masuk
be more
ultinya
difficult
nih.
to stay away from them as Diablo has to flash out of this solar flare. Sharvel makes his way in. And the DN Supers, I do expect them to fight this next dragon in 3 minutes time, but there's not a whole lot to do just yet. As Diablo's caught.
Wah, kena. Penyakit Diablo. Kamu penyakit Diablo.
Diablo out of position.
Itulah Diablo yang aku kenal.
Scout also chunked down here. Sponge was nearby.
Peter, si Peter lagi kerasukan Wolves ini.
And that's a little bit of prio
Peter
game back
kerasukan
here for
Wolves.
Nongshim. Scout does have teleport. We might actually see them contest this. Closer also a TP unanswered on top side. Nongshim just getting out macroed here, out team fought and out jungled. And Peter is just, I mean, he hits everything as Kingan's going to look for a wraparound TP here to stop Closer, but that means he won't be able to join the fight. Closer can. They're going to look for the collapse.
Undertow does connect, but Closer is able to teleport away. Not enough
peduli
DPS
apa.
here for the Olaf, and down he will go towards his Nexus turret and will survive. Is a big investment to escape from that play, but Kingan also, he teleported in. His teleport's on a longer cooldown, and he used his Ghost.
I misspoke, it said Dragon, I meant this bottom turret that they were playing towards here. But ultimately, they don't defend this. It looks like it's actually going to be left up here to deny more farm, even though I think they're very aware that there's no one to defend this.
Yep.
They win the top side play there with the trade of teleports, and it's just Nongshim can't find any ins in this game. There's just nothing, and the gold lead for Diablo has diminished. He's down flash after that previous play there from Peter. The punish is unreal with this Leona right now. And what decisions can they make? Lens, this isn't the one he wanted.
Well, he's going to be able to buffer the hook shot there, so it does get out of the way of Peter, but still there wasn't a whole lot of follow-up readily available.
He's not gaining any ground, though. There's no one up here. Scout's so far away, he couldn't have followed on Lehenz's play even if he wanted to. And Peter's just standing guard here as this Cassiopeia pushes another wave, but now they're going to start up Herald. They have full control, full cryo. And as mentioned before, Dudu has teleport advantage because Kingen just used his. They set up the macro where the Mbessa with TP is dealing with the Olaf. And what can Nongshim do but either look on or try to collapse on Mbessa, who has 5 wards of vision to see them coming. And
yeah,
Dudu's just like,
insane.
I don't care.
You can see he just knew exactly where to be. Gets on top of Lehenz here.
He's going to turn it onto them potentially. I mean, this is a crazy macro game from DNS right now.
I know, it's ludicrous. And this is not the way that I was expecting this to be played. I know we set it up saying like, oh, it's a different beast, right? Nongshim are going to be a different opponent to that of T1. I wasn't expecting them to be this aware and prepared for it. Like, this team just continues.
Yeah, this is a little bit too well prepared, honestly. Maybe Nongshim is not that great, you know?
Even if we did think that they were going to win the series, I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Maybe Nongshim is not that great.
Until the 3rd dragon of the game. Nongshim's soul point availability, but they are so far on the back foot right now.
Peter, okay, it doesn't commit, but Diablo has cleanse, so I think trying to go for a play there would have been a bit overzealous.
Yeah, still searching for these sonic waves. One thing that Dr. has really been able to do this game is land these deadly flourishes to help with the setup. Peter going to miss this time around. No Zenith Blade, no Solar Flare. Does take a lot of damage for his trouble. So DNS, throw down the Rift Herald. They're going to see whether they can use that to get a little bit of control here.
Like, if you want Dragon, it's going to cost you some turrets, Nongshim.
Well, they're going to drive the Rift Herald into this Dragon fight. In goes Closer, looking for Diablo. He does get on top of him, who does manage Dark Age shift over. That is going to be the Dragon secured by DNS. And massive damage as Diablo cannot hit anyone over the wall. Scout is also unable to deal the damage. And now Dr. is able to throw down these bullets once he's done reloading.
Okay, Diablo ngamuk. Oh shit. Ayo, Sharvel versus Diablo. Oh, kena! Mati lu, Diablo, anjing. Kok bisa? Kok kena, anjir? Gokil.
Jumps on top of Diablo, smites and executes him as he will take the scuttle as well as an additional prize. So, rare miss from Peter. They decide to drop Herald here, and my thought is they're just going to slow down the Dragon fight and look to push inner.
Sempet-sempetnya itu Q kena ke Diablo. Gokil, cok. Wah, sakit ini jungle. Agak lain.
That's an Ezreal who's still going to get a lot of value with his True Shot barrage over the wall here. And now they're in this awkward spot here where the target selection isn't great for DNS. They're far enough ahead to where they can still fight this out. And because Diablo is over the wall, the formation is a little bit awkward here on the punish. Duckdom's still incredibly healthy because he's Jin took the initial part of this fight from so far away.
Oh, dia ngedes ke Dudu, abis itu langsung masuk ke situ. Abis itu ngedodge Oriana terus masuk ke Diablo. Itu kagak ngotak. Gak ngotak, itu gak ngotak. Kok bisa sambil ngedodge Oriana lempar Q ke Diablo? That's illegal, chat. That was illegal.
Doesn't matter, they still win it, they still outplay it, they still get huge advantages. They were able to secure the Dragon as well, mind you.
That was like everything went DNS's way. Yeah, they lost a couple of kills, but they were happy about that. You can see the gold advantages on the top side of the map are just kind of obscene. 4.2k is going to be that total lead for DNS, but that money is precisely where they want it. You don't really mind that your Jin is behind, right? Like, Jin is largely utility here in this game. Their Cassiopeia is massive, and Dudu is a behemoth, but Sharvel is the king of this game. I'm so glad that he brought out the Lee Sin here in game number 1. Because the way they used Lee Sin in the last series was
gak mungkin Piosik main lagi abis ini, gak masuk akal. Aneh kata gue kalau Piosik masih main abis ini.
It's been the story we talked about. He is the one who leads the tempo. He is the one that makes these decisions. He's the one that is making Nongshim sweat. And so is Peter in this game. But Sharvel looking now to maybe set up for a dive as the turret is on like sub 20 health. It's got to be.
Yeah, they just need to breathe on it, and it will be going down here as Lehenz gets on top of Closer. Does nothing at all. He's just dead. And now the resets start to come in. Peter in a little bit of trouble here. The axes will flow in from Kingen. This turret's still up and available. They don't exactly have minions. The Solar Flare comes down. Sharvel.
Okay, Sharvel. Okay, Sharvel. Okay, Sharvel.
And remember, this is an angry turret, and so you cannot really
Dudu dari sini. Public execution Dudu. Gak ada ulti kan? Dudu gak ada ulti. Dudu ada ulti. Dudu. Wah, Dudu.
But that is going to be a 2 for 2 in the bottom side of the map when it really felt like Nongshim found an angle.
He didn't have he didn't use his flash. I suppose he thinks it might be more valuable
main di
later
tim
on.
liquid lagi. Jepang. Sumpah Pyosik main di Jepang bagus deh.
The whole time before Dudu showed up, you guys could see on the minimap.
I think Pyosik can save Japan for real.
Nongshim to make a choice. Do they deal with the Ambessa or do they try to look for the counter dive here? Lehens is the one who makes that call, and initially it's a great call. They kill Closer so quickly, but then they try to chase into a Leona, and because the Ambessa does have TP, she can show up for this fight, so it's a numbers game that you're not going to win unless you win it really quickly, and Peter plays this so perfectly, gets the stun into the solar flare, the turret ramps up, and once the Ambessa shows up, there's no prayer here. Now Lehens dodges this first one, so he doesn't get slowed, doesn't get by the second one.
Tapi yang aneh ya, kan ini semenjak Pyosik diganti, DNS jadi bagus ya. Tapi pas ada Pyosik yang MVP Pyosik mulu kocak. Karena emang gak cocok aja kayak gameplaynya. Si Pyosik tuh gameplaynya mirip kayak Levi. Makanya kalau di tim kayak SHG kayak bagus sekali. Mainnya di minor region, terus dia carry sendiri. Ya, kalau setim sama orang jago si Pyosik jelek mainnya justru. Buset, Sarto lu gila. Bang Sarto, pelan-pelan Bang Sarto, kagak usah gitu banget itu. Kasian anjir, mau juara Nongshim.
And Diablo just found out why, as they're just going to look for a Baron take here. Sponge is alive here and does have Blast Cone to try to come in at a surprising angle. TP is here from Scout, but they do not have any fire whatsoever.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Sharvel, I think they might be baiting this one as Sponge is over to the side. They do get the Mega Blast Cone though, as we'll see whether they do try and burst this one down. Lehens gets into that backline, isolates Closer as the ulti comes on through.
Okay, Sharvel.
No ulti,
what the fuck, Sharvel?
And he just hits the deck. Now you've got an Olaf trying to engage. He might be able to find an angle to take down Peter, but who cares? They've lost his support in trade for 3, and the DN Supers will still take this back.
Masih ada Diablo Moriana sih, bisa poking. Ayo Closer. Oke, Closer versus Scout. Skillnya miss semua, gokil. Nice shield from Sharvel.
And this Baron will be going over to the DN Supers. No one is stopping this team in this tournament. They are just too good at Kesper cupping Wolf.
I love how Peter decided to deal with this. He's like, I'm going to try to stun you. He's like, you know what? Get out of here. And then in this moment, they push Scout away, right? Lehens comes through as Scout's kiting away. He's in miasma, and they just turn onto Lehens and kill him, kill the Nefiri, and watch this damage come through from Duckdom. Massive.
Oh my lord.
It's big.
Okay, looking for Soul Point once again as we are straight back into the action as
itu dari mana dia datangnya? What the fuck? Oh my god. Gak mati. Gak mati. Next game. Gak masuk akal. Gak masuk akal ini jungle. Stress.
This guy is styling on him now, and I'm a big critic of Jin play. The Duckdom's made it look pretty good so far.
Gak masuk akal ini jungle.
He was weak siding this game, but now he is large and in charge as Sharvel, man. He keeps finding these angles on Diablo specifically. The Ezreal with Flash and Arcane Shift. Watch this. He goes on the long flank, uses the Blast Cone, gets on top of him, kicks first, gets the Q, so no matter what Diablo play Diablo makes, he can follow, eats a ton of damage, but retreats, so the rest of the team can follow up here. An amazing play again from the young player here in his rookie year.
Oh my goodness, Sharvel. Where have you been all my life? This guy is
yeah, like where have you been? Selama ini dikurung di mana sih Sharvel, Cok?
But it's 25 minutes into the game. Double the kills. Here for the
ini
DN
produk
Supers, we are
buatan mana
over a
nih?
kill a minute, and it is an 8,000 gold advantage.
Ini orang produk buatan mana, Cok? Selama ini kemana aja?
even though it is only game number 1, the DN Supers just look in such good form here today.
Not the kind of game number 1 you want to have in a best-of-5 grand finals for momentum if you are Nongshim. This one has got to really sting.
Prime
like you said, it's not just a dominant game. It feels like they are getting styled on. It is not close, and Sharvel's making play after play. Now down flash.
Thank goodness it is fierce.
Nice try.
The ultimatum does come in. Down to the GA. He has his way out. Sponge getting on over, and there is a safeguard away. Can they actually save him? The answer is no, but now
ulti Kamil tadi.
Goes down to about 50%, tries to dash cannon his way out of Diablo.
Aduh, gak ada Sharvel langsung kalah anjir. Dudu miss ulti.
The Ambassador is massive, but Diablo creates the space. Lahens gets off to the side, and Sponge
gak ada Sharvel langsung bobar anjing. Lah! Si Guguk ngetrocok pecah anjing. Emang literally anjing itu mah. Championnya anjing. Itu apa anjing?
Alright, so Sharvel here is like, I'm Lee Sin, I have a blast cone, I'm gonna be okay, but
main champion anjing kelakuannya kayak anjing juga.
Does get the ward hop out with his last moment of health there. He does get the pop of the GA.
Terus di ulti. Oke, nge-kill.
Now they're split. Lahens and Scout can't join quickly enough. Closer has an arm guard here, so can buy time and buy space, and layers a lot of damage before he goes down. Now ducked on here.
Dudu kalau kena ulti mantap itu.
Go in here, and Nongshim have to scatter and play around cooldowns as they make the decision to go out. Sponge makes the decision here with Lahens to try to look for a re-engage, but they're desync, and it does not work.
That was a fourth shot as well as that. Yeah, you kind of didn't want to just bounce into that, unfortunately.
He didn't have CC because he's in the Fury, so I don't really know what he thought was going to happen there.
He might have been just going to aggressively W at them, you know, where you do like the floaty in the air doggo style. But that did not quite work. A little bit of a shame. And sometimes, you know, you get that rush of blood to the head, and you're like, I can do it, I can make it happen. And I like the gusto, I like the
in those moments in a game like this, when you're 7,000 gold down, and you have the numbers of edge, you're low health, but you're like, this might be the only chance we get.
Gantiin lu situ.
It could save the game.
Sharvel.
That's the mentality of a player like Sponge in that moment.
Kalau nggak ke Kaede gantiin si Kas. Nggak usah Genji udah bagus itu ya. Rosternya udah bagus, gak usah ganti.
But this is a crisis moment here for Nongshim. Like they have no angles in this game. That might have been their last chance. I think it was. And now this game is looking like it is well and truly already the obituary written. It's already been pressed. It's on the news. DN Supers looking for a 1-0.
It's a difficult title to read if you are Nongshim. They might have to deal with it. As now Kingin gonna walk under his inner turret. The siege a little bit more difficult now that there is no Baron. But with 3 grubs, they will be able to get through these inner turrets. And Closer now looking for a bit of a reset here. We'll see whether the Zhonya's Hourglass is ready to be completed. Does want that stasis for the next fight. As he's teleporting back, does not quite have it up. There it is, actually. Is going to be completed as he makes his way back in. And so that is a lot of turrets. 5-1 now in favor of DNS. The Sponge does have doggos to throw at Sharvel. Means that the
ada yang pernah recall gak? Gak boleh sering-sering sih dikena denda. Dendanya juga gak lucu guys. Ratusan juta dendanya. Gak yang seratusan ribu gitu loh.
Yeah, Kingin off to the side as well, but he's discovered an Ambessa who is very, very dangerous. The curtains now getting cold as Diablo is
masuk aja, buset! Gokil!
But Sharvel's in a lot of trouble. He gets to the back of the hexagon and will be able to escape. And unfortunately for Diablo, he is
Sharvel, pelan-pelan Bang Sharvel. Kalau bisa gak usah sering-sering kayak gitu sih, tadi agak risky cowok.
And I think that was deserved as Scout and Lahens, the last men standing, and I think they're just gonna have to watch as their Nexus starts getting attacked by the DN Supers.
Orang gak nyapa fans saja kena 200 juta. Sama kali.
Is an Oriana here, but
no shockwave available. Lahens gonna have to hook shot his way out. Does get a nice stun on the Dudu, but this is still gonna be Nexus start number 1 going down. Scout going to get engaged on the public execution connects, and the Oriana just gets executed. That ability named pretty effectively
Ini mah 3-0 gak sih? Ciananya ban lah kata gua mah next game. Nongshim bisa apa lu?
This jungle gap could be massive depending on how it's played out. We set up the storyline of the more aggressive player in Sharvel, the more defensive there on the side of Sponge. On this Nefiri, though, he defended nothing. He was invisible in this game. Sharvel took over so early on, and he and Peter ran the map. Closer got fed early. Duckdom was able to stabilize, and this Olaf did nothing in this game. Kingen could not actually ever get to be that rebound, ever be that big force to threaten the back line. And even though Diablo was ahead, Sharvel just kept finding the Ezreal with Ian flash up and still finding these kick angles, coming in so fast on this Lee Sin that Diablo just could not react.
And yeah, we haven't quite got our POG papers, and I don't think there is. I think we're just going to do an MVP today for this one today. Based on this game, I kind of already just want to give it to Sharvel. His Lee Sin was just an absolute joy to watch. What is it with D+ junglers and their ability to play Lee Sin? It is kind of absurd, the level that they can get to. As this guy, like, this is just going to be a Sharvel highlight reel, guys, because that's what this game was.
Favorit gue tadi sih yang ngedodge Oriana. Mana replaynya? Dodge Oriana terus langsung nge-Q si Diablo itu. Nih, yang ini. Lihat deh. Oke. Ngedodge Q-nya Oriana. Set. Gelo. Ini si Sinting ya. Buset. Gak sehat itu.
And so he had to get the Q off and immediately flash in an instant the opposite direction. This setup was just beautiful. Duckdom with the alley-oop there with the deadly flourish.
Duckdom was so good on this Jhin. He often won fights by just ulting and keeping Nongshim in an uncomfortable spot with their slows so the Cassiopeia could do the damage.
I think also, close it, like that was an accident. I think that Sponge got interrupted. No, actually, no.
Diablo,
and so he just timed it, managed to get both
mainnya.
So actually, just
cuma jungle defeat terlalu parah ini.
Finds Diablo in this fight, forces him to flash, but he's taken so much damage here. Sharvel escapes, and then watch what Closer is able to do when Dudu goes in here. He's just layering the damage in. Like he and Duckdom are the carries, and they're the last ones to join the fight and clean up house. As they just have led the tempo, they have started every fight. It has been from start.
Nah ini agak nge-troll sih Sharvel tadi, hoki itu dia.
Nongshim had that, you know, we talked about earlier. Yang ini agak hoki. They had a few moments where they
Kalau terlalu jumawa gitu sering-sering sih kacau sih. Yang late game agak jumawa dia. Tapi emang udah pasti menang sih, nge-throw juga. Gokil.
On the DN Supers, that is going to be his 4th so far for the tournament. Kind of surprising that it's only been 4. Yesterday, everyone got like kind of 1 each, right? Apart from 2 of the players. We spread around the love quite a lot. But Sharvel, so deserving here in this game.
Ini mah sayang banget gak masuk playoff.
The Pantheon was banned away in this game. He went for the Lee Sin early. So Pantheon's still available. They still got
sekarang
the
aja lah.
Kiana. So
beli
watch out.
Yeah, there's a lot here, but it is now time for us to take a short break. When we
beli
get back,
langsung Tiwan sekarang now. Playoff bawa Sharvel, cok. Gokil jir. Udah map keberapa? Match 2 sekarang, nunggu match 2. Kabut. Oh, bisa pertandingan yang lain main ini juga? Apa ada 2 divisi? Oh, bisa pertandingan yang lain yang main ini juga? Apa ada 2 divisi? Oh iya, CL Nongshim lawan DNS juga. Beda player kan? Greening berapa lama itu kayak? Ini akun tahun berapa ya? Ini akun tahun 2018. Berarti berapa tahun tuh? Iya, kok bisa bareng ya? Ini ya, CL-nya.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Casper Cup 2026. The series is currently 1-0 in favor of the DN Supers. The first team eliminated from the LCK are now on the precipice of Casper Cup Kingdom. The promised land could be theirs with 2 more wins here in this series, but it is still early days, Wolf. Nongshim do have the opportunity now to bounce back, and they have chosen once again first pick in this series. Blue side will also once again go over to the DN Supers.
Jungle Deep ini gimana ya? Kasihan Nongshim. Sharvelnya jago banget.
And despite the dive attempt,
apa kelemahannya Sharvel ya?
It just went horribly wrong. You know, Lehens ended up dying, and that put him further in the hole. And then a lot of resources were committed to try to defend him. Like, we talked a lot about Sharvel's big plays in the mid to late game, but a lot of this early game was shaped by topside control out of a small mistake from Lehens, and then Sharvel being able to take all that away, and then Olaf couldn't get resources. There was a bit of a butterfly effect to that attempt to get Scout back into the game that really impacted how the rest of the game went. But we move into game number 2, like you said. First pick here for Nongshim. Yep. Taking the Vi, the Poppy, and the Lock away. Interesting to see the Lock banned by Nongshim Red Force in this case.
Yeah, so the lock going to be the one difference here, and obviously you're referring to the fact that Scout has been very good on this champion, not going to have the opportunity to play it in this particular game, but I think being afraid of Closer, who did make his way into the LCK as the Aurelia guy, like banning away some of these
ngalangin copyright
up against him, but still plenty of picks on the table as far as our mid lane is concerned. Just the lock, Oriana, and Casio taken away. Nocturne is also going to be
main apa sih Scout dong?
Both off the board.
Mid lane apa lagi yang bisa dipakai sama si Scout? Rise. Oh ya, gak ada Casio. Rise gak ada Casio. Main TF atau Closer? Closer bisa main TF. Bisa main apa lagi? Galio. Galio TF.
You're going to see Duckdom try to farm out those waves when he's at a bit of a weak point on the Caitlyn. Matchup unknown, but if you do the Pantheon here, you obviously give DN Supers the counter pick in jungle as well.
Yeah, this is it's a little bit dangerous because obviously this is a very powerful lane. The thing that I'm worried about is the fact that the DN Supers did not have a great time when Peter was playing Bard the last time, so we'll see whether Peter can have a better performance here today on the champion, as Lehens is going to lock in probably his most famed champion here in the Nautilus. Something that he has played so
special
often.
Nautilus.
And Yunara
Nautilus Yunara?
The considered option. I don't know about
this. That's pretty weird.
This feels
Yunara
like two
tanpa enchanter?
I want two different things. Like Lehens is like, I want to have the ability to make power plays roaming. And Diablo's like, I want to be able to carry the late game. Unfortunately, you put yourself in a lane where you're going to be locked down, and you're not going to be able to easily get out on the map. And if you do leave Diablo solo down here, it can be a big problem. The Pantheon also, by the way, because they didn't take it to match the bottom duo, goes over here to Sharvel. So they have the Caitlyn Bard and the Pantheon. The early game power on this bottom side of the map is insane here. And yes, you could try to protect this Rise pick a little bit now in the second phase, but it's Closer. He's got so many picks that he can play here.
Yeah, I am very worried about how this one's going to go because now they've got the Pantheon. It could just be Taliyah Pantheon here. Taliyah has been a good matchup into the Rise. I think that needs to be banned away.
I think they'll ban it for sure. Closer's been, by the way, one of our best Taliyah players in the LCK this year. Like, even though their team was not winning, his individual performances on
sejago itu Taliyahnya Closer mau di ban.
If not the best.
Lagian gue lebih suka TF dia sih daripada Taliyah di sini.
Maybe it's the Syndra Taliyah is what they're going to take away here. Syndra has been a very popular one, so that one will be banned away first. If they don't ban Taliyah, I'm going to be very confused.
Karena pin.
Alright, I maybe won't make bets about it.
Taliyah di ban
is going to be taken away as well. Interesting.
Yeah, they're obviously not
TF kayaknya di ban.
Pick here, and not playing into Victor, so pretty unusual one.
Closer, TF, guys.
Why are we not banning the Taliyah when it's Taliyah Pantheon and it's Taliyah for Closer?
And
it is
Closer
very
like,
obviously going to be locked in.
This is just a weird and I think bad draft read here for Nongshim Red Force. Maybe Scout just doesn't want to deal with a lane that gives Closer the opportunity to bully him because the Taliyah won't necessarily be able to get that same power.
Kiananya diambil, nice.
Okay. Only Sharvel wins on this pick, so with a risk on this one, at least you won't have to deal with it in games 3, potentially 4 and 5 if you take it here. But with this draft, I'm not sure if we go to 4, as we do see the Cassante as the counter pick to the Snap Rumble. And this draft is all over the place for Nongshim Red Force. It has no front line. Its front line is the damage of the Kiana and the burst that is there for the follow-up. But they don't even get to say that the Rise is going to be a global threat in this draft because they're playing into Pantheon and Taliyah, which not only is one of the best jungle mid-synergistic CC setups in the game, but also has double the globals packed into it. You've got a weak side Cassante to stabilize and deal with the Kiana play if he plays top side. Bottom side has the winning lane with the Caitlyn Bard. I don't see very many positives in this draft for Nongshim at all, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Yes, so many things synergize here on this DN Supers roster. Like, it's kind of crazy. Even like the micro synergy of All Out through a Weaver's Wall, right? Like, you can really make sure that you can drag people all over the map with the Cassante, but there's also Tempered Fate being able to set up things like the seismic shove. Not only the traps that we see in this barred Caitlyn
Lehen lo
lane,
mirip Mickey
there is
X.
a lot that kind of works in tandem. Not to mention the fact that they have
Mirip-mirip
great lanes, right? Kasante into the rumble has always
karirnya.
been good. Talia has been working into the
Dari
rise.
tim
And
OP,
Caitlyn Bard basically
terus
loses lane to nothing. And
dia mainnya
especially
bagus,
not.
tiba-tiba
And I know Nautilus
dikeluarin.
hit the rotund hitbox of the Bard, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But Nautilus, Yunara, I don't think they're getting prior. Let's get onto the Rift here, see whether Nongshim can change our minds in Game 2. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift 4, game number 2, seeing whether Nongshim can fight back against the DN Supers. His first Harpoon is going to land. That is certainly positive. That is a great start.
This matchup has been a great one there. This matchup has been considered a counterpick to Kasante, but it doesn't win early, as we see a little bit of first strike.
Seriusan Sharvel lo bisa menang lawan Kiana early game. Agak jumawa gak sih? Agak jumawa gak sih? Oke, mantap closer. Tukeran.
And so that is going to be a bit of an advantage. Still a 1-for-1.
Agak jumawa gak sih, Bang?
Trying to make some peace here in this bottom lane.
I mean, I don't want to overreact here, but this game might have just fallen off its legs already. As they look for the play, Sharvel's flash to the buy time for closer coming over. Scout's down both summoners now. Does not have TP. This is a disaster, because this bottom lane isn't winning. The top lane isn't going to win for very long. Lens can't roam to help his mid laner, and Diablo is just getting pushed out here at level 1, denied so much farm here. Because at least he is able to push Peter away. Now Lehens will return here to this bottom lane. But man, there is no good news right now for Nongshim.
Yeah, Lehen's still level 1, unfortunately, as he walks back up towards this lane. Sharvel, back in his own jungle, will be on this blue buff to start us off as far as his clear. And Sponge back towards his Raptor camp after his Krogs did fall over. Scout, really good combo there. Onto Closer, just trying to get some control back here in this lane. And Nongshim, this is an uphill battle that they find themselves in now.
Every trade in this middle lane favors Closer because he has TP and Scout does not. Neither of them have purchased yet. They both got a kill off that last play. So Scout needs to be able to push Closer out first, and he's doing it.
Yeah, there is the slow. Scout doesn't have flash, remember? And doesn't hit the Q. Closer just going to outthink him in that moment. That was very close, just a solo kill, and Nongshim finding themselves right back in this game.
That was a really big play from Scout there. He knows he has the rune advantage here with the touch picked up here, and he's actually burning Closer down there. He knows Closer doesn't have flash either. If he hits that Q, Closer dies 1,000%, and he had to be the one to force the TP. He's still not going to be able to get a big tempo advantage out of it, but at least he's able to stabilize here in a lane that could have otherwise been disastrous with this jungle synergy here with the Talia. Sharvel's going to pick up this bottom scuttle.
Yeah, so he is going to be able to grab that one. We'll see whether it's going to be a double scuttle, actually, as Sponge is also towards the bottom side of the map. They get the bad news that the scuttle has already been taken, and now we see Pantheon moving back down towards his bottom side. We'll head towards the Krug. So it looks like there is an opportunity for Sponge to get over there towards the top scuttle, and some vision does go down as Kingen does get a ward over there.
All right, let's see if Duckdom here can just get all these minions without any... What?
Apa?
Well, he's not going to have flash for when this Bard shows up.
I mean,
he knows the Bard is there and knows exactly
lebih cepat dipakai, lebih cepat cooldownnya. Nggak salah, nggak salah. Kalau mau nge-place lebih awal biar cooldownnya lebih cepat, nggak salah, nggak salah. Cuma ngapain anjing? Diabel, penyakit Diabel gila. That was weird.
So I think just obviously a fat finger there as Closer here in some danger.
Yeah, Closer is just going to be able to wander away.
Kena stun, mati.
Nicely done there by Sponge. He's thrown into the turret as Sharvel. Looking to show up here. Peter with a magical journey.
Peter, di-flashin. Usya.
And they do lock down the kill, getting their revenge. Still, Scout able to offer a lot of damage back. The Aegis comes down in Lehens, flashes in on top of Sharvel. He's taken out by Scout, and now Nongshim finds some angles. Oh, that's a turret shot. Peter's able to take down Scout. Oh no! Touch burn blunder.
The touch burn damage activates the turret.
Gila, baik banget Peter jungle supportnya. Minya UFF di freeze.
Such an important moment here for Nongshim.
Diabel tanpa killin agak kurang berani sih Diabel. Justru berani banget tadi nge-flash. Gak ada angin, gak ada hujan nge-flash. Orang gila. Flash dipakai buat emot, cok.
Scout takes him out here, but watch what happens next. The Scout picks up the turret aggro and walks a bit too far forward, actually. I mean, really, just shouldn't have been that far up. Yeah, that's just a mistake. I thought it was just a weird angle there where he didn't have aggro and picked it up on the burn, but no, he
he did pick it up on the burn, Wolf. Yeah. You were absolutely right.
He walked in.
He just didn't need to be there. Definitely a very unfortunate moment there for Nongshim. They are not too far behind. The fact that they're behind it all is just a worry, because I feel like DNS's composition is just going to feel better and better as this game goes on, especially as Dr. reaches to those 4 to 5 items later on in this game. His range advantage already very pronounced, as we can see in this bottom lane. Yeah, no, it's revolting.
It's 20 the advantage here. It's a 500 gold lead. And this just isn't going to get easier. Diablo still doesn't have his flash, mind you. And luckily for him, nor does Peter after that play in the mid lane to flash in and kill Sponge.
And Diablo does have a recode mode, right? So he does have the item advantage right now, has gone back to base. That is why that CS lead was so massive at that exact moment. It does shrink just a little now. So it's not 20, but it's still pretty big. As Dudu looking for an angle, finds the all out, and King just flashes away. Doesn't want to deal with this at all. And now Dudu just here with a flash advantage.
Yeah, this is... I mean, everything is so horrifying right now for Nongshim. I mean, they're still in a stable game state for now, but there's just so many things that can go wrong, so many things that likely seem like they will go wrong. Based on everything we've seen, it's Closer's going to look for
Closer. Oh, ngalangin si Scout. Scout kepaksa pakai flash, mencoba untuk kabur. Tapi cepet banget itu ghostnya.
And so no flash, no ghost. And this Rise is kind of out of options in the mid lane.
I feel like you can really feel the frustration of Scout in this series. After what happened with Lehens in game 1, how well he's played, almost got the solo kill, but was unable to get it, missed the Q, and now he makes one mistake here, and he's got to be feeling incredibly tilted. You have to think, given this game state, and he does escape here, he plays it incredibly well, but there's nothing he can do after that. He finds himself now down 15 CS. And at least he's got those 2 kills to sit on. His Closer's even going to take half the Sponge's health bar just for fun.
Dicari nih sama Sharvel, mana Sharvel? Yoi, itu dia Sharvel gua.
To deal with this Kiana who does go into stealth, but the stun will follow. There's the Talia Pantheon we were talking about.
Pokoknya Sponge kelihatan di map di ulti sama Sharvel aja.
It's a Rise with no TP walking slowly down to answer a wave here from the Caitlyn, who finds herself still up a massive amount of farm here in this game. And Nongshim look lost.
All right, well, there's a fling back onto Diablo now. Closer finding these threaded volleys. We'll just be able to clear out this wave. Looks like they're not going to be trying to kill anyone just yet. But Lehens and Diablo kind of out of options right now. We were already skeptical about how this Yunara Nautilus lane would go. They are going to be able to find a bit of an anchor towards Peter now.
Oke, Peter selamat. Closer, hati-hati. Oh, lepas satu dalam rumah. Aduh, kena stun itu, cok, hati-hati. Oh, Jing, nge-stun duluan. Oke, miss ulti, Spawn. Tapi kebanyakan. Udah, nah gini nih yang gue takutin. Kalau misalkan Sharvel terlalu mencolok gini, jadinya di-lock, cok. Gameplaynya terlalu flashy. Pasti di-lock gini tuh. Agak dikasih setup dah.
As he has to walk carefully around said traps. And Dukdom actually will even force him to back here off of the play because there's a possibility that, you know, Peter's coming back over, doesn't want to get dove here, even has the Lehens and Diablo coming over, so he's just going to be swapping things up. But that was a big win for Nongshim there, getting that pick. The gold lead here still within touching distance, and all it takes is one team fight to get them right back in the driver's seat.
And there is going to be that one window, right, where the Yunara is just a bit stronger than Nocturne. I think 3 items, much better for Diablo here in this game. Even 2 feels a bit better, depending on the build. But Nocturne, I think, will have that moment where he hits critical mass at 4 items. And with Dudu to play around, with that big front line of the Cassante, this composition will just feel so good to play out in the later stages if they're not too far behind.
Yeah,
Nongshim, it's going to be a different story. I think that they do need to really navigate this mid-game perfectly.
I think it's all about Sponge. Like, he needs to step up in this game. If he could set up the Rise, because the engage here is Lehen's, right? And then Sponge's ultimate. That's all they really have. If they can set up for a pick at the beginning of the fight, then even without being fully online, without his third item, Scout does a lot of damage. Diablo does a ton of damage. That's the whole thing about the spike you're talking about. On one item, he's going to be so much more valuable.
Wah, bener kan tuh kagak dikasih celah Sharvel. 3 watt.
Sponge really needs to pick up the slack here right now. In this
Mana
game,
ini Peter? Vision Peter. Clean the vision, please.
If he can hit some big ultimates here or find some angles in the beginning of team fights, when the splash comes back up, could be the one to save this game here for Nongshim, because if they don't get those edges, I think it's going to be so tough here because of the double globals, the ability to pinch in sides.
And speaking of those double globals, this Dragon has been started up, but full vision is there for the DN Supers.
Closer and Sharvel ready to call up Scout.
Yeah, they're going to throw Scout back with that seismic shove. He takes 50% of his health bar, maybe more, here with that spear landing as well. And now Realm Warp to bring them back. The Weaver's Wall interrupted. Supreme Display of Talent doesn't really find it here as Closer is going to throw back Sponge. But that is the kill going over
Nongshim, fight back.
And he is now starting to get online.
I thought for sure Sharvel was going to commit the ultimate there.
Sharvel just ultimate. Aduh, nggak gitu bang. Alah dia.
Aegis is pretty good as the spear will be dodged. And Diablo will walk away. Scout gets another one.
Okay, this looks like it's going to be dragging going over as well. Peter trying to be annoying here, but does not have his Ayoo's. Meanwhile, trying to get the first turret of the game here. Hard pushing down in that bottom lane, so delays the Dragon slightly here, so they can try to get this for Duckdown. They only have one grub, though. It looks like it's just not going to be enough off of this wave. Might be able to get it on the next one as well here.
I don't know.
We are brawling all the time.
Okay, second game is weird.
Available once again as the equalizer goes down. Dudu tries to find the cube, but doesn't get it. Still chasing after Kingen in the turret. If there was another shot there, he was dead. Kingen is going to back away, though. Dudu just going to have to walk back towards his turret.
So DNS kind of falling apart a little bit in some of these fights. They still maintain the gold lead here, but it was not the dominant fight that they were looking for. That initial catch on the Scout, I thought for sure Sharvel just ults in and commits for it, but they didn't have enough information to make that play. Instead tried to push into the mid lane, and they got punished hard. Sharvel then commits back in to try to kill Diablo. Diablo outplays him, dodges the spear. He doesn't get the kill there onto the Yunara. And just like that, you've got Diablo online in this game. You know, he's still 1,000 gold behind, right? He was not able to farm a lot, but having that Kraken Slayer here, that's that first item spike that's so powerful. Yes, he's playing into a BF sword here on the other side, but he can do a lot of consistent damage.
Duckdown just went back and, like, bought so much stuff.
He did.
That was a crazy buy. No wonder the DN Supers really didn't want to go for a fight there. They were looking for a pick instead of a team fight because Duckdown was sitting on so much money in the bottom lane.
Pakai ulti segala.
Definitely was a big influx of gold as well.
Kalah ini mah.
Now Dudu
kalau nge-throw mulu.
Has he taken damage? No, not yet.
I mean, this is the weak side. Kasante, we talked about the plan. Otherwise, through this mid push and the top push here, now we're going to see a commitment.
Gimana coba cara nge-kill Kasante di bawah turret? Harus 4 orang dah.
No ult, but does have flash.
This is such a scary dive. Everyone is so incredibly squishy.
Harus 4 orang gitu ngedep. Uish, masih belum mati.
Sponge is going to die, so it's a 1-for-1, but it's another kill over to this Yunara, and Nongshim know that they need to feed the puppy.
Harus 4 orang ngedep itu
Duckdown was going to get so much plate money here. Closer is unanswered. They spent so many resources to do this, and Closer's going to get a whole turret. Duckdown's getting plates, and yeah, you did kill the Kasante. You did get his flash, but what about the rest of Summoner's Rift?
The gold Nongshim.
Nongshim do have a slight gold lead.
Lang dah, 200.
Now it's gone. That is just going to swing back towards the DN Supers. It is extraordinarily close, right? And first Drake did go over to Nongshim. We do have to express the Nongshim are still neck and neck with the DN Supers here in this game. The reason we're talking about things as being so DNS favored is because we really do prefer this composition in a straight front-to-back team fight.
I mean, a lot of the issues I had with the comp for Nongshim was that they couldn't punish the Kasante top, nor could they win the bottom lane, but they fought their way into an even game state in terms of the gold right now. And right now, as you mentioned earlier, Diablo is stronger. The Rise is in a pretty decent spot here combat-wise as well. Obviously needs his third item to really hit, but Dudu is going to interact with him right now.
Yes, Scout's going to get pulled back. All out is
Nggak jadi.
available,
Ke
and the
cancel.
realm walk is not going to work, and so he's just dead. Dom going to grab himself an assist,
Iya.
and
Males
Dudu is now
main
2-1-1.
By
He's
the
got
way-
a Rooker, and like, what is this Ryze supposed to do?
Well, look at his items. He's got a Rooker and he's got Merc Treads into double AP damage here in the solo lanes. Only Diablo can really hurt him right now. I love the choice. He just walks up and says, I will kill you. I will interrupt your realm warp. And down he goes.
And now, Shelly up and available. Sponge over here. Does make his presence known, but Peter gets some vision down as well. So I think this is going to be Rift Herald
They have an
over to
equalizer,
DNS.
but I don't know how they're going to be able to use it here.
Yeah, they are backing away. Lahenz was
Kiana ada
moving
ulti,
in.
nggak bisa
It's all
start.
about Diablo. He has flash. He's going to have to play this perfectly if they are going to fight. And
No realm
DNS
warp.
just decide not to commit to the contest. They just let it go. They do not defend because they know that Nongshim can't start it. And instead, they just push mid with a Caitlyn. This is DNS macro, right? They don't make the bad call, the risky call. They just decide to make the safer play, and Nongshim walk away with nothing. They denied, or rather delayed, this Herald take, but don't gain anything else.
Well, now they are just going to go over to the Herald because they see that Scout is on the bottom side of the map. He doesn't even have Realm Warp, but he definitely doesn't have Teleport.
Mulai.
Dearie me.
Well, at least we
Mulai
made it
dah
this far
penyakit
before it
dah.
happened.
We did. This is only game 2. And
Headset
Dudu that has the
lagi,
issue
headset
this
lagi.
time
Looks like a
instead of
headset.
Sharvel, and yeah, the headset situation has been plaguing us, but it has been also the easier
Apa
option.
sih?
I'm looking
Benerin,
over, I can
Opas
see
offline,
Costa.
anjing.
There was fear in those eyes after what happened yesterday. Definitely not wanting a repeat, but it's looking like it was a peripheral issue, and hopefully we'll be back into the game.
Another headset
There was a bit of a
problem
laugh from
again.
one of the analysts.
Again.
I mean, it's Cloud Temper and Dongjun. They are generally just laughing with each
That's
other.
true.
Main
So,
FGO.
I don't know what is happening confirmed, but the fact that the ref is in comms here, and the fact that they're not talking to Dudu, it means that it's probably almost resolved. We did get the confirmation that it's a microphone issue, which is probably why you saw him touching the pop filter moments ago there. So that will likely be resolved here shortly.
Yep.
But man, this game for Nongshim, I feel like they're doing such a good job of forcing their way into these fights, trying to set up Diablo. They're playing through their win cons. But every time they take one step forward, it feels like they take 2 steps back. Right?
Caster Jun udah
It's
ketawa
the macro,
kedengeran,
and I
Jin.
didn't think we'd ever be talking about DNS
Bentar,
being
Caster Jun
good
nge-cash
at
juga.
macro, but it's
Macro
like,
team, yeah.
but now it's like 4 series in a row where we are, and I think we just have to accept that they are so good at playing the map, especially when Duckdom gets Caitlyn. This has been Duckdom's thing since the beginning of his career. Remember the Duckdom Aphelios, crescendum damage of the turrets,
yeah.
lane swapping. They know how to play this Caitlyn composition. They know how to say no to an objective fight that looks rocky, walk away and still get value. At least Scout will get some value here, and finally taking out this bottom turret. He has a gold lead with this Kiana in this game,
Good.
and they're going to have to play through that as this mid-game gets a little bit tougher here. IE completed for Duckdom. He's gotten so much money. He's been given so much free time to just hard farm these lanes.
And the one thing that I do want to say about Nongshim is that I think they're out of the woods as far as the dangerousness of a Nautilus Yunara situation, right? Because there's no laning phase anymore, and I think that they're out of the woods there, and I think Diablo will be able to still offer a whole bunch of value. That's an opportunity here for Lahenz, but he's just going to die.
Lahenz?
Flung back, and I don't know whether that was exactly the dredge line that he really wanted to go. Yeah, he nailed it. But it's a steep cost.
Yeah, I don't think that was the angle he was really looking for. He buys time for Kingen to try to get this turret, but now is a punish.
Oke, closer, ulti, Kingen mencoba untuk melarikan diri. Dia menggunakan ulti untuk defense. Dan damage-nya sakitan closer, cok. Yoi. Ya, kena ulti.
Still it's a 1-for-1. Drake goes over to the DN Supers, so they are going to be able to trade up as far as the map is concerned.
I mean, right now, Closer, or rather not Closer, Scout needs to back off because he's in Pantheon ult range, so he's all the way back between turrets here. As the Caitlyn push continues, someone has to answer that. The Ryze is now going mid to try to answer said push. Diablo is up here on the top side. Isn't going to be able to find anything here. Peter clears out vision. So was it a heavy cost to get that play to work their top side? Closer also trades a kill back, so
yeah.
The gold is even, but the map is just so, it's been this entire game so run by DNS.
And we need to bring it back, Wolf, because the thing that really is in DNS's hands that is tangible.
DNS.
Yeah,
they just have all of them.
They
Dua juara dunia nggak bisa ngangkat. I mean, masalahnya DNS juga punya 2 finalis World sih.
There was not a moment in my mind that I doubted that they could do it, because
I think the power level is the same.
You were like, all right, yeah. Well, I guess they're just gonna win the whole thing. We all thought, okay, yeah, sure, they might fall back, they might not be able to keep up this form, but not only have they done that, they've just really improved still, like every series, and they just keep playing games back to back, playing at the end of LCK this week, going to the double games here. They're playing tomorrow, by the way, win or lose, in LCK.
Exactly. That's a ridiculous spot. As Tempered Fate gets the flash out of Sponge. Sharvel still moving forward. Lands in Diablo, off on the flank angle here, as Docdom going to be able to find some damage. Slurkle is going to slow him down.
So far, si Docdom belum ngapa-ngapain gue liat-liat.
To help his AD carry. And they're going to wait for another Tempered Fate. I think that Peter has definitely been better on this spot this time around than he was yesterday. Has been hit or miss on this champion throughout his career, is what it feels like. As Realm Warp to get Scout out of here and is going to be able to escape.
Really nicely done.
Aneh gameplay Scott, nggak ngefan gue sama gameplay dia, aneh banget. Nggak jelas itu tujuannya apa sih. Sharvel ulti aura farming doang tuh gue liat. Cuma aura farming doang itu ulti Pantheon.
Okay, that was a crazy outplay from DNS on that. I thought for sure this is a winning play for Nongshim. I thought they were going to get so much more out of this. Dudu shows up, and they just push the damage away, even though he doesn't really have that much armor on this Cassante. Obviously indexed into magic damage because of the lane and the double AP. And they turn what looked like an amazing setup there for Lehens into a turnaround, and the Kiana on the other side does not get it done with the attempted ult there. And it's just, we're back to square one again. Every time it looks good for Nongshim, they cannot stick the landing, and now Scout in trouble, may have to flash.
Yeah, Peter looking for a meat slap. It does not hit the Cosmic Binding, and I don't think there was any chance to.
Cosmic
Sometimes you see a minion
Binding.
wave there, and you're annoyed, and you're like, you know what, I'll
Binding.
just throw the Q anyway.
Ayo lu, gak ada flash, Tempered Fate-nya kena. Knock up dia,
The seismic shove. And it does
tebel banget shieldnya itu item.
He is very tanky.
Peter Gelo, untung dapet. Oke, Dudu.
Just wants to start a fight with him now. Kingen is able to limp away though. That's why I was really worried about Peter, which is why I started doing a tongue twister, but Scout does go down in the end.
I don't like how Scout played that, because
Yeah, Scout is doing weird stuff right now.
No, I actually did like it.
I had a few doubts about it as well, to be honest.
It was very fun, and I think it suits the game state. But Scout decides to back in the brush. By the way, Tempered Fate's hitbox is so large that if Peter knows he's there, which I'm pretty sure Peter was very aware that he was there, he could have just ulted the brush, but decides not to do that because there's too much variance. And Scout then is forced to flash, and once he does flash, because he flashes so late instead of trying to get away earlier, then he's caught by the ultimate of Peter because he doesn't have flash anymore. He's very tanky, but his team wasn't coming, and he not only dies, but also loses his flash.
That headshot could actually be really meaningful here. There's 20 seconds left on this Drake, and now the Nautilus doesn't exactly have a huge health bar. Does have that shield, is now Kingen.
Penasaran Sharvel lawan itu siapa ya? Kayaknya Sharvel udah lawan semua anjir. Lawan Kenyon udah ketahuan dia jago, bisa ngimbangin. Lawan Kanavi bisa gak Sharvel? Penasaran gue. Kanavi itu jungle psikopat sih.
Them know that Scout was making his way in. Weaver's Wall from Closer is going to block off some minions. The steal from Sharvel. As Nongshim put it
Terima kasih dragonnya Nongshim. Enak. Aduh, wah rata wah. Mana ini? Mana Dudu? Wah, triple kill si Scout. Gokil. Baron.
For the first time this game, Nongshim win a clean, decisive
Nongshim menang di map ini, aku sudah jajan 50k. Semangat Nongshim! Yuk bisa yuk! Gila, Rice udah carry banget sih. Gila, gue sih dari dulu fans Nongshim guys, jujur. Dapat Baron ya kan.
Nongshim do in fact secure Baron post this fight, so sure, they lost the smite fight, but they won everything else. DNS a little bit disrespectful there on the collapse on the scout, did not read Sponge's engage angle there, and he and Kingen bring Nongshim to a lead and might have just saved them in this series.
And Diablo now with 3 items completed, the Mortal Reminder now put together to cut through Dudu, and they're going to use this Baron to take some structures off the map. This power play is going to get monstrous.
Itu betak ungu udah mulai sakit tuh dia. Iya, udah jadi item apa namanya? Yang itu tuh lupa namanya. Lah. Nongshim, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Ya ampun, ya ampun. What the fuck, harus pakai Baron? Kok bisa? Kok bisa?
I don't want to keep using the analogy, but it's one step forward, and this time I think it's a little bit more than 2 steps back. DNS in so much control of this game now with the denial of the Baron. It's negative 1600. They take out the 80 carry. They win the fight. They've got a sieging, pushing Caitlyn here. And they're trying to now threaten this inhibitor in the mid lane. They've got control of top and bottom as well. And the map control Nongshim fought so valiantly for. In that miracle fight with Scout, Sponge, and Kingen is washed away by
Peter maju. Gak kena siapa-siapa. Tempered Fate. Dapat ADC-nya. Kena knock up, keren. Itu keciduk juga, tiba-tiba ada Sharvel. Ya kagak jadi gue jajan 50k. Ya kagak jadi di donate, cak. Kagak dikasih gocap deh gue.
And they just disrespect all the different engage angles here for DNS.
Halo Spong.
Sharvel is here,
halo Spong, sehat.
Sponge may not be
dadah.
Tempered Fate also connects onto Diablo, and Sharvel is
halo Diablo, sehat. Dadah.
Diablo goes for the second, and the
Dalah, tim cacat ini 3-0 anjir. What do you mean? Pakai Baron masih kalah.
Look at this power play that I was talking about before.
Aku kesal. Emang sejago itu sih, tapi closer ban Taliahnya, cok. Harusnya di ban tadi Taliahnya, anjing. Nongshim kocak. Ben Taliahnya kocak. Oh, never mind. Kingen.
And TNS, they've lost Sharvel, who did go a little bit overexcited in that last play. DNS still going to be able to get out of here, though. Closer will be surfing around these walls. And there's a minute until the Drake, and so I think Sharvel easily able to make his way back, especially with the Grand Staff.
I mean, this is just, like, Sharvel walked in the jungle. He's not farming the camps. He's farming Nongshim.
He's not farming the camps, he's farming the champs.
He's pulling Ramyun out of the ground. He's plucking it.
Oh, no, I didn't know that's how it was made. I haven't seen a Ramyun farm before.
In this game, it feels like that's what we have. And yes, they're not able to end the game. And yes, the gold has been, by the way, dead even.
Tapi si Scott ini fat banget nanti masalah itu.
But the game hasn't been close. And that's because it's all about how you use your gold and your advantages. How much of an impact has Kingen been able to make with the money he has? How much of an impact has Diablo been able to make when he's caught in these critical fights? These are the questions that Nongshim fans are going to be asking here. Yes, Kingen had the amazing setup there with the Kiana that one time, but otherwise has not been able to do anything compared to what Dudu has done in this game. And the gold lead here for Nongshim just feels fake so far. They are set up for this dragon, though. They were able to defend the push. Sure, they're down inhibitor, but they get prio for a moment, and it looks like it will be enough to get them the second of the game.
Oh, Peter, I don't know whether you really want to be doing this, but he does take a magical journey through. I thought he was going to be dangerously caught in the Brambleback pit. but it's gonna be okay.
Another one of these Nongshim call.
Oh no, Scout is gonna be
caught. Oh no, Scout, kamu adalah harapan bangsa. Kalau kamu mati Nongshim kalah Scout. Oh itu item broken Bantai. Ada equalizer. Actualizer.
That is a realm warp that I don't think is going to really win. Never mind, Scout. Sponge makes his way out and Lahens gets in there.
Broken bat itu item udah kayak set aja. Semenjak ada actualizer orang nggak pada beli rocket belt lagi sekarang. Gara-gara actualizer tadi guys. Semenjak ada itu item orang nggak beli rocket lagi sekarang ini. Broken bat. Mana Magic gak ada anti shield lagi. Pantheon juga gak bikin Serpent Pang.
Should easily be able to regroup and survive here. Now, this is a bit of a disaster on the play for the side of DNS because they choose the worst possible target.
Lihat shieldnya. Apa itu shield apa anjing?
Continue to play without taking massive amounts of damage. The Ryze is incredibly tanky. Either Ryze has got Seraphs, he's got Rod of Ages fully stacked.
Ada alasan sekarang orang-orang gak bikin roket lagi di bit gara-gara actualizer. Broken Gear. Nerf please.
Baron up and available due to no TP. Nongshim might be able to seal the deal here. We thought they did.
Tapi setidaknya dapat 50k kita. Let's go. Ayo Nongshim. Bantai Scout. Aku percaya padamu. Gua dari dulu emang ngefans banget sama Scout sih guys. Gelo. Waktu zaman JDG juga GG mainnya anjir.
And Doctor, remember, he's made it to those 4 items. Like, this is where the Caitlyn starts to feel much better. As Weaver's Wall to block them off. A 3 versus 5 in theory, but it's a great
Mana Scout? Mana Scout? Scout, sudah saatnya Scout. 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 Oke. Oh, menang ini, Cok. Menang, Cok. Kacau Scout. Gokil.
This Ramyun farm more difficult to infiltrate than we thought.
Gila carry hard ini Scout.
Out of the ground, and Nongshim this time around will be able to win the fight without.
Karena si Faker gak bikin actualizer gak sih kalau gak salah kemarin mainnya. Metanya kan actualizer, Proa, actualizer, Zonya, apa lagi? Seraph. Seraph ya? Seraph, Proa, actualizer, Zonya.
Judges the situation well, pops his Zonias to make sure he doesn't get punished.
Sama item yang heal tuh, yang first item.
But they haven't been able to break open the base just yet.
Yeah, and we do need to reference Scout.
Kembang yang heal itu juga. Itu yang ikut turnet tim tier 2 kah? Bukan tim yang utama. Ini tim utama ini. Kan ada Kingen nama Closer, ada Deokdam.
Opposite of what they wanted here in this game. It's the perfect opportunity here for Nongshim to utilize their composition.
Oke, Peter berusaha dapetin Scout, tapi terlalu tebal anjing, kagak mati-mati. Butuh Serpent Pang sih. Oh, nevermind, masih ada Zonya. Scout mati, hati-hati Scout. Tidak, Scout mati, Cok. Duduk, wajib kena semua. Gila Peter MVP. Wah, Peter MVP, gokil, kena stunnya bisa-bisanya. What the fuck? Bang Peter, aing pengen gocap. Kenapa lu malah comeback?
I cannot believe they got him.
Nggak jadi di donet, tai. Peter comeback, Cok.
I thought, okay, it's done. They don't have the damage. They can't kill Diablo. Dude, it gets on top of him. Peter hits the stun. He hits the binding. They have all the damage, all the bursts coming through. And Diablo just cannot actually finish them off.
Okay, it's not over. The game is not over yet. However, it's another negative Rebel Baron power play.
this. Look at this play here. Sponge gets on top of Duckdom. Shield comes up. He is able to back off here with the net. Gets the kill. Goes down. And at this moment, I'm like, okay, even if Scout dies here,
soalnya kemarin yang ikut T1 Academy bukan T1. Mahal T1 cuy. Ya kali. Gagal gaji donate gocap anjing. Si Peter malah comeback bangke.
The GA goes off here. Sharvel comes back and gets another stun off. And Diablo is burst down. Now Kingen just cannot get the damage done. There's too much MR here on this Cassante, and Closer is helping out in this longer fight. We go to this dragon fight here. It's Soul Point forever takes it.
And this game is now so incredibly close. Still a slight gold lead here for Nongshim as they want to get on top of Kaede.
What the fuck?
The Drake is taken.
Okay, dapat Soul Point, dapat Soul Point. Cabut.
Back towards their base. And the DN Supers, they
want to cut them off
because they are looking for some inhibitors.
Bang Peter, udah Bang Peter. Dihalangin gak bisa pulang, Nying. Bang, pengen pulang. Bang, oke, nice land. Dokdam, udah dokdam. Tai, nice.
Taken down the Yanara as well.
Kejar.
Also dead. Inatara falls down. This game is a mess, but I love it.
It's an amazing game.
Lo tuh gold gap-nya berapa ya? Baru sudah comeback.
They bought time, but not enough time for Duckdown to kite that out and take out the Nexus. Soul Point also goes over to Nongshim, so because they survive here, that may come into play here in 4 minutes time, where they could get that one and deny it from this Cassante that is just so huge in this game. Crazy game we are watching now.
Gila,
they had the
sih,
tempered fate, they had the Weaver's Wall, they had the tools to deny Nongshim the base defense, but unfortunately they just did not have enough of a wave, they didn't have enough damage there to actually get the job done.
Tadi kayaknya kalau komit bisa end sih, makanya si Dokdam komit tadi. Kalau misalkan empat-empatnya mukul base end sih tadi. Komunikasinya beda sendiri. Dokdam tadi ngelihat dia bisa end ini. Damage gue cukup, cuma yang empatnya mundur aja.
This is the thing. Sharvel just comes in and 3 hits it. They have to have scout
udah full item itu si Scout.
They just lose the game.
Kata gua ya, ini Rex gak bakal mati anjir.
Look at Sponge. He's like, if there's a ward in the space, we literally lose the game when that
kalau dia main di backline sih, harusnya. Ada actualizer, ada heal, ada zone-nya.
Until the Baron spawns. And then if DNS just decide to be in the Baron pit, they are going to be able to take this. And so Scout being diligent, they know that they will lose the game if they leave. But it just feels a little bit like that checkmate moment where DNS should be able to use this to get themselves a Baron and start that siege up again.
Because there's so much defense that needs to be needed. They can actually siege both mid and top right now. They're threatening this turret here. Good defense by Kingen, but it's going to eventually go down with this big wave.
Doctor not going to be hit by the Slurkle as the Tempered Fate comes in. Not exactly the highest value. Will buy a little bit of time. A Sponge to try and get an avenue forward. Dudu still pushing
si Scott gak mau keluar dari base. Soalnya iya takut di end sama Dudu ya.
Towards the mid lane. Dudu on it, making sure that communication is up.
Dia selama inhibitor kagak ada si Scout gak bakal keluar base, Cok. Jadi kuncen.
I think at this point they should be confident there are no wards in the base.
Oh yeah.
They've swept it out. I think now you have to be bold enough to move out of the map a little bit. You got to be aware of Weaver's Wall. You got to be aware of Pantheon ult. Right? They can ult into the base at any moment. Now you've seen TP in mid from Dudu. Now is the time to actually start contesting. Now you got to get out on the map.
Look at his health bar. Sponge is going to be able to dance on forward. Tries to go into stealth.
Cassandra masih OP kah? Masih kepake. Tapi orang pro player udah pada tahu cara lawannya. OP sih jujur. Baron.
This Baron is going to be a tough ask.
And they don't have Sponge. He just went back.
Aduh, jungle jauh banget, Wak. Ya, ini mah hilang. Ini mah gak keburu. Kiananya jauh banget di lapangan pada masyar, anjing. Kagak keburu.
Yeah, that's a freebie for DNS. Beautifully played to make sure that they could guarantee it. They find Sponge, they chunk him out, they do not overextend. And then the equalizer value is mitigated perfectly. So they'll go back with the empowered recalls and see whether they can get this siege working. It is still a gold lead for Nongshim, by the way.
Now, if they push mid with this Baron, they could just send one person. That's going to be Closer to TP's top. There's only two half-health Nexus turrets between the end of the game here for Nongshim. and the push of
Coba
DNS.
kalau bukan Cassante itu di dep 4 orang.
So they're looking for a flank here with this Kiana. It's a bit of a risky one onto a Cassante.
Udah
holding
tewas.
the line. He knows he can basically be a brick wall here as the rest of DNS push up. And this is DNS's MO. Oh, you got a lot of people somewhere? I'm going to send everybody else and my Caitlyn to push your turrets. And Nongshim now have to respond.
And look at all the vision. They know exactly where Nongshim are. As Sponge, not going to go too aggressive here. Sharvel had already taken the red buff. And Sponge not going to be face checking or anything like that. But now his siege minion moving towards this very weak inhibitor turret. Nongshim looking for the flank angle.
Sponge, ulti Sponge. Itu ngumpul di situ. Sponge ulti, woi. Ya ampun. Si kocak nunggu apa? Malah ulti angin, anjing. Tadi harusnya tadi. Tadi kalau multi tadi. Oke. Lihat lehen. Kenapa Jonya? Quadra kill. Apa sih? Udah kagak usah nyoba Kiana dah. Kiana buat Sharvel aja dah. Itu orang tadi ngumpul di tembok 4 orang, kenapa kagak multi walk? Telat anjir. Tidak, nggak jadi di don.
Because they were the top seed at this tournament, and now they find themselves 0-2, backs against the wall, against match point. And there is no world where that Cassante is not coming up on our screens in just a moment. There's nowhere where Dudu's beautiful face is not coming up to show those numbers, because he hard carried this game. I don't know if we've seen a game like this since that one Keen Cassante game back like, 2 years ago around that dragon fight. He is just so good at this pick.
And we haven't been talking about the Dusante in so long, man. And it was called that for a reason. Maybe we need to go back to the start of the year, Wolf. Maybe it was all along the year of Dudu.
I think so. And look, I think this is like the 4th time that I've commentated a DNS series where Duckdom gets his hands on Caitlyn and they turn it into a macro masterclass. They keep doing this. Teams just need to stop letting Duckdom get Caitlyn, and they got Peter's Bard, and there was some shaky moments, but overall, a much better performance than what we saw from him yesterday, as you pointed out earlier. And yet, the gold lead was fake. It wasn't real. Nongshim weren't able to leverage it. And I think for Nongshim and for Scout, you gotta be feeling so frustrated with how this game went, just like game 1. And then, when they got caught by Peter's Tempered Fate into the shove on that Baron push, like, how could you reverse sweep this series after how it went? Look at the gold graph here. What control Nongshim had. That Baron push was real. It should have been the moment that won them the game, secured them so much power. They fumble it. How could you reverse sweep here? You have to win 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
it's crazy, the mental advantage right now that DNS has.
Oh no, it's absurd. And I think it's the second time that they've had it so far here in Daejeon as well. I think they had it in their previous series and they've got it now once again. But it's just showing their tenacity. This is a team that were known for just giving up and sort of hopelessly losing games. They did it 18 times in a row.
This moment, I feel like it's going to play through the heads of the Nongshim coaches, the Nongshim players, for the rest of the day. Whether they win and lift that trophy or not, they will still not forget what happened here.
That is a sick angle as Sponge gets sniped and then sniped again. As this play from Sharvel as well, man.
This was the Ramyeon pluck.
It was. They were just pulling it out of the ground.
They weren't able to end the game off the play, but they got very close.
And it just kind of fell apart from Nongshim after this. This was the failed push. They did manage to take a couple of Nexus turrets. But Sharvel going down here, and the DNS then had to back away, and then, oh my goodness, this late game was kind of absurd. But Nongshim kept finding these good team fights. There were these moments where you're like, yes, we know what this team's capable of.
When DNS make mistakes, Nongshim absolutely showcased they are a team worthy of being in this finals. They know how to team fight. This play from King in here, gets the Zonias up. They're clean with it.
Is it a Peter angle? I mean, I know it's going to be Dudu, but it also is Peter.
I think it's got to be Dudu this time. It was always where he needed to be. It was also hard split pushing this game, which is why he was so fed. That was part of the macro plan, is they leave him alone in the 4-1. And then he was just unanswered. Like, they couldn't kill him. He's just too tanky. This draft plan was, in my mind, the reason why, and you said it several times, despite the gold deficit, for me, until they got Nongshim got that Baron, yes, they messed up and they did not win the game. But until that moment, I didn't think Nongshim had any chance of pulling this off. And ultimately, they didn't, obviously, as we saw earlier, but this draft is just so hard comparatively. As this was the attempted end where they got the Nexus turrets, they got the stop of the backs there, Duckdom's kiting. It does end up failing.
This is still not the ending push. Like, this highlight reel is going for forever because there were so many moments in this game.
Yeah. This fight here, Dudu's flank coming over. And they extend here pretty far. Like, Nongshim are not, DNS are not in a spot where they can fight this one out easily, but
look, it's insane. He just walks at them, man.
Diablo is like, I have to do damage. I have to be up there. And the setup was not that clean for DNS, but because the Cassante can just do whatever he wants, he sacrificed himself to win the game.
Sengaruh itu anjir ganti jungle, Cok.
Nongshim, they did not have their AD carry to play around. They did not have the DPS.
Sengaruh itu loh ya, ganti jungle loh ya.
He just met a peacemaker in the head, and they had to sit back down. Dudu does pick it up. It is indeed Dusante
MVP
time.
Dudu.
And what a game
Dudu tuh.
Damage percent 18.
Dari tahun kemarin di DNS dia selama ini kagak jelek, guys. Diseret Piosik berarti si Dudu, Cok. Kasihan anjir.
It's the damage on where it was. Like it was on.
Dari tahun kemarin akhirnya potensi sebenarnya keluar, Wak.
And the whole point of a Cassante in a Rumble matchup isn't even to win the lane. It isn't even to win the matchup. It's just to be more
sering
useful
ngebantai apa
as you get
dibantai
later on into the game and be able to
apa
ignore the damage.
DNS.
He played the frontline role
DNS lagi
absolutely
loose stick, sekarang lagi
perfectly.
twin stick.
And now it is time for us to take a short break. When we get back, match point for the DN Supers here at the Kesper Cup 2026.
Remove one critical red up state and one critical strength up buff for one enemy. Kamera gue suka ngepost sendiri, guys. Aduh, bosok semua. Command cardnya bosok. Gather rate. Gak main Hawk lagi kah? Kurang suka aku Hawk. Lebih suka ML kayaknya kalau game lain. Iwan gak main Kaede, kalah kemarin, udah pulang. Kalah, iya. Bukan Packer sih yang main. Yang main si Guti. Tapi jujur lebih ada perlawanan sih T1 daripada ini finalnya. Gue nonton kemarin. Ini dibantai, Cok. Gak ngerti gue ini metanya si Bibi. Dia meta buat apaan dah? Ya harus gue latihan make Bibi datar. Apakah masih worth it untuk main FGO dari awal? Tergantung. Kalau tujuan lu pengen main game, jangan. Tapi kalau lu tertarik dengan ceritanya, gas. FGO itu bukan game. FGO itu visual novel yang ada gamenya. Aku pengen lihat Tom ngecandangin Packer. Penasaran lihat mid laner T1 yang gantiin, apakah mentalnya aman. Masalahnya jadi gini, misal lu punya ngebangun restoran gitu, terus lu hobi masak juga, jadi lu ikut masak di dapur, terus tiba-tiba lu diusir dari dapur tuh, padahal lu yang punya restoran. Gak bisa, Cok. Bukan SKT lagi masalahnya. Kecuali Fakernya sendiri yang milih buat istirahat. Udah kelar kah turnenya? Game 3 abis nih. Kalau misalkan Nongshim kalah lagi berarti dibantai ya 3-0. Dama kah ini? Ya, T1 internalnya lagi selek. Coachnya kagak mau ngaku salah, Fakernya kagak mau di bench, Doran keras kepala. Si owner memble. Gara-gara gak menang match jadi toxic. Bayangin aja, lagi Gak pernah kalah lawan G2 beberapa tahun terakhir, tiba-tiba kalah di MSI. Ya toxic pasti. Enggak, kalau owner di bench kan karena dia izin orang apa keluarganya ada yang meninggal katanya. Butuh mid laner sekali bercopi buat gantiin showmaker ke T1. Selama ada faker kayaknya nggak bakal diganti faker. Nggak sopan masa Pak Bos diganti. Nggak boleh. My istri GWS. Kenapa webcam gue rusak mulu? Malah Coffee ke T1 jadi top laner. Coffee jadi top lane. Coffee bisa top lane tapi kata gue kayaknya gak bakal bersaing. Top lane LCK kan jago-jago cok. Kayak ketemu Siwu juga ditendang Coffee mah. Malam ini lanjut LOL gede, gak silver. Lusa. Besok wing rip kayaknya. Besok tanggal berapa sih? Ya, besok wing rip. Kamis kayak gue main LOL lagi. Siang.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kesper Cup 2026. It is time for game number 3. We do.
That's Inbin from the LCK.
Yeah, what's she doing here? Probably
Buron 1 gue tadi naik.
The DN Supers and Nongshim at the same time.
Yeah,
tapi matchmakingnya kayak gampang sekarang. Ada yang di fix kah kayaknya?
And red, so I assumed that it was definitely on both sides, and as it turned out, it was. So I was a bit worried that she was on one certain side and Umbin was showing her bias, but not actually to be the case.
I love to see the digital camera, the old digital camera. I've got one I use as well sometimes. We have a lot of creators and short-form influencers here at the Kespa Cup Finals. That's who you guys are taking a look at there. So we got a lot of celebs coming in here to take a look at what could be the decisive third and final game.
Yeah.
DNS can take this one away. Nongshim opt this time for second pick, and DNS will take the blue side. So, looking for counter pick this time around.
DNS blue side, second pick. Nongshim kenapa? Dari tadi Nongshim second pick mulu, tapi masih kalah kota.
Right? A lot of problems around that mid prio.
Tapi nggak salah sih tadi picknya counter cuma.
Game 2, they kept the gold even. They were winning fights. They were winning the fights they needed to win.
Tapi Sharvel nggak so-OP game 1 sih setidaknya.
Left a lot to be desired, and they kept trying to push mid and just kept getting caught by flanks and Dudu, who took over the game on the Cassante.
It was beautifully done. That last game was an absolute barn burner, though, and often those types of games are the most difficult to bounce back from, right? You were so close to victory, so close to finding glory here, and Nongshim could have evened out the series, and now it's going to take a reverse sweep to get themselves back into a position to claim the Kespa Cup. Like, this is just so incredibly difficult when momentum is so clearly against you, and the momentum against them isn't even just from this series. It's from the entirety of this tournament.
They are on what now, a 7-series winning streak as well.
Jarvan,
both LCK and Kespa Cup that started with a near win over Kiwoom DRX, and then from then on it has just been pure domination out of the squad. That started at the bottom.
Yeah, they have the, like, since MSI, they have the 3rd highest win rate in the LCK. And I know we're Legend and Rise group, so it is different opposition, but that is still so impressive for our team that went 0-18.
Tadi niatnya buang kiananya Sharvel sih tadi.
They did.
Kirain si Spongnya bisa manfaatin, ternyata gokil.
the way it feels to lose a close game and then find yourself 0-2. I mean, it's the worst possible situation. If you got stomped, it might have felt better, actually, because at least you're like, okay, well, we lost the game early. We couldn't do a whole lot, but we're focused on game 3. As we move into the draft here, we're deep in it, actually.
It is going incredibly quickly here.
Before?
As Dudu going to pick up the counter pick, Yorick. First pick did go over to DNS this time around. We do want to clarify that one. And so Dudu grabbing Jarvan. That's not the ban list as Akali was added this time.
Yorick,
attempting to get some winning lanes here. Going for the Jace, but gets the counter pick, given the counter pick over to the Yorick. And then this Ahri comes through here as well. So they chose second pick, but then blinded solo lanes. That both then got counter picks here now.
Gak ada poponnya, popon apaan?
For a long time, but eventually can turn that matchup around. They'll get the jungle counter pick
Sinjo
here. That's what they
Jarvan.
get with this one in the Xin, but not necessarily sold on this draft just yet.
Oh, Fai-nya di ban. Pantasan gak main Fai.
But it all depends on how the rest of it comes together. I think probably aiming for something like a Lulu lane, even though the Yunara is taken away, there is still Kog'Maw, there is still theoretically the Aphelios that we do like to talk about when Dokdam is in the game. But the Kalista is what's going to be taken away first here by the DN Supers.
I feel like Lulu deserves a ban in this one. It's just such a powerful pick. And warps lanes, warps matchups. Jarvan is great on the setup of it. Even the Xin can work well with it. There's a lot of poke in this draft here for Nongshim Red Forest, but now they need to show us the consistent damage. Well, whereas on the DN Super side, it's a little bit more pick focused.
Yeah, I think you want to play side lanes on the DN Super side. I think the 4-1 is so scary when there is a Yorick in the game. The Lulu, like you were talking about, will be taken away. So focusing on Peter here. His Rakan has been fantastic in the past, but the Lulu, I think, is just such an important one to take away. Kind of interesting, though, because I do feel like coming straight out of this ban phase, if Lehens just slams the Lulu, they feel great about the situation.
I wonder if he's just really trying to get a Nico angle here. Quirky Nico could have been what they wanted to do with this draft. It adds even more poke and
gak ada Lucian, Lulu gak ada.
Match up into whatever they're going to face. He still might lock it here, even without the Corki, but I feel like that's what they were looking for instead.
Oh my god, apakah Diable main Samira atau Yasuo?
Dokdam was looking for here.
Yeah, I think Sivir Karma is actually really powerful here for the DN Supers because they have the Jarvan, right? And that's
Alistar Yasuo, Alistar...
Because they have so much engage already,
Samira.
It can be comfortable to just lock that Sivir Karma here and just win the lane by default.
Ada Jarvan sih,
they have enough engage to where the lack of engage on the Karma doesn't necessarily matter, and they have so much late game scaling with it too, and the wave clear in mid to play through their side and the Yorick.
Yep, I think Spell Shield also pretty valuable into the Jace, but this is a
Kaisa Jarvan is really good.
Kaisa Nico for Peter, because both of these supports love Nico, even though it's a little bit off meta right now. Playing the Nico into the Alistar feels like a free win. You already, because you're playing into the Alistar, regardless of what you pick support-wise here, at least the Kaisa feels a little bit stronger in the early levels.
Nico into the Alistar, though, doesn't feel fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you could just get headbutted away. It could be Peter's Rel as well.
Yep, that's another option.
But that's another counter pick for the Alistar.
Wow.
They're just, I feel like it seemed obvious that that's where we were headed.
Oh, Shen's way better.
Bisa sih Melbot, soalnya udah ada Jace adeknya.
Nice work, Peter. I think they remembered that Shen exists as an option. Shen Kaisa is just so powerful, right? You can deliver Shen into backlines, and then Dokdam has that initial protection.
But it also works well with Ahri too. You know, she ults in, goes very deep to look for a pick, and can go unpunished with the shield.
Jarvan as well, just really does like to wear a Stand United, but the Varus from Diable will be the answer. And so we'll see whether he does decide to go the lethality route, add to the poke. Like already there is so much poke. And keep away, right? You got Crescent Guard, Headbutt, Scatter the Weak, and then you have the Piercing Arrows and the Shock Blast. This is definitely feeling like a poke comp coming out of Nongshim.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be the lethality Varus. It has to be, I think, with this draft. They're just going to go hard on the poke, and they're going to wait for they're going to wait for the engage to come through from DN Supers. But when you have a poke composition like this into a hard engage pick-based comp like what the DN Supers have here, by the time they get to go in, if you have control over the zone, if you have control over the objective, when they go to fight you, they've already been whittled down, so you can kind of win that fight on unfair terms because of that poke. The problems come, though, if you lose control of the map. You lose control of the jungle early, and you don't have vision, you don't have prio on objectives, then your only engage here is an Alistar, and your Alistar only has one ult button, so you got to be tracking that as well. How are you going to get into fights? How are you going to set up for space and get vision to use your poke if you fall behind? But I do think this is a good draft here for Nongshim. I think they rounded it out well. I was a little bit worried after they had those blind solos coming through, but I think they did come up with a pretty strong composition here. It will have to be the first of 3 wins in a row if they're going to lift that trophy.
Well, we'll see what happens as, ladies and gentlemen, we could be ending the Kesper Cup after this game unless Nongshim knuckle down and get a win with this poke comp. Let's get on the Rift for game 3. All right, here it is. Both of our teams making their way out. I don't think it's a very clear winner as far as the draft is concerned, but opposing themes, absolutely. And oftentimes, the dive comps feel very good into poke. Not to mention, split push feels good into poke as well, given the fact that Dudu can force movement, and Nongshim really do want to have everyone there to make sure that they can back each other up when their opposition do start to fly forward. So this could be a tough one to navigate, but I think they do definitely have the tools to make it work. It's just whether they can pick themselves up.
Di seri ini 2 tim masih pakai ADC tradisional, nggak mage.
There's the comment, that's the giveaway.
Yeah, that's absolutely going to be
the
dead giveaway.
Tadi ada yang pakai Camille sih, tapi Edgel kombonya.
It's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit finesse,
nggak
but you
pakai
have a lot more
AP.
power with this Alistar with the Varus on the other side than you do with a lot of other AD carries here into the Kaisa. So Lehen's just going to try to trade this one back. It is very, very close.
Yeah, Closer actually taking a lot of damage here from Scout as well. Scout just barely missing the Ahri, as both of these players, I believe, using Faker skins, which is kind of cute, as they did both play behind him.
Yeah.
Just a bit of an honor to their Hyung.
Absolutely. This is a very, very tense early game because there are matchups here, 2 of them, that should be won early by King and Scout, right? They blinded the Syndra and the Jace, and while later on it gets a little bit tricky, like the mid-jungle synergy is really strong to punish the Syndra, as we're going to have another headbutt.
Yeah, Peter looking for an angle though, as Lehen's getting taken down very, very low. And the Void Seeker does not find, but man, this is getting rough. And this is what happens oftentimes in Alistar lanes. I think it should be expected, especially at level 1. But Lehen's getting closer and closer to that level 2.
Closer tuh kayak Zeka, tapi bisa mage deh gameplaynya. Bedanya. Kalau gameplaynya mirip tau Closer sama Zeka. Bedanya si Closer bisa mage. Nyadar gak si Closer sama Zeka macam mainnya sama. Bedanya si Closer magenya bagus.
Sharvel is over here. There is a ward in this.
Gak main assassin doang.
Diablo are aware of this. He could just try to go over the wall here, but I don't think there's even an angle here to grab a flash. He is trying to stick around and annoy them. I think he's aware that they know, and he's just trying to waste their time as the wave gets to a really awkward spot here.
Oh yeah, this is so tough. Like, I think even if they knew, and we know that they know, I think they still have to walk up because they're going to miss out on so much. The taunt comes in, and there is the Void Seeker as well. Nongshim not wanting to commit because they know, I mean, there's no Zin's out. Zin's in the top lane.
Peter just having such a great early game here, and I think that this was an expensive play from Sharvel, right? He spent a lot of time down there, but his jungle had already been cleared, so you know, he could have been trying to set up ganks elsewhere and he didn't get any kills, but just the threat alone denies so much farm here for Diablo. Cole gets picked up here on the back for Duckdom. As like I was saying, these soul lanes, it's volatile. You can see Closer can put a lot of damage back. Scout has to hit all of these Qs. The Jace needs to be in full control topside. He's not, as you guys could see already. And we're not even at the point of the time where the Orc should start winning.
Oh, the interruption, but Peter is now having to deal with 2 people. He does have the Twilight Shroud, so he's absolutely fine. It's not actually called that. It's Twilight's Refuge. Spirit's Refuge, sorry. And Twilight Shroud is Akali. And now the turret! Scout gonna go down. It's first blood solo kill from Closer. Look at that grin on his face, and Scout, oh man.
I mean, Scout is just getting rolled in the laning phase today here. He's had some important moments, he's had some good plays. He was able to save face in game 1, but not the greatest late game from him in game 2. And then here, just in charm range at max range, doesn't respect the power of that electrocute damage. And he just gets totally owned. I don't even know what other word to use there.
Yeah.
Closer just I mean, he's laughing for a good reason, let's put it that way.
Yeah, Closer is certainly feeling himself. And the problem that Nongshim have now is that if this Ari starts to get going, this mid game is just going to be almost impossible to play out, because you have this comp that is just so hard to play from behind. Yeah. Like, it just doesn't really do anything if you don't have an advantage.
The edge of night for Diablo is light years away. He's going to be an easy target in a lot of these team fights if they don't have that map control, because he has to step forward to try to land that poke. Only has an Alistair for peel, and they're just going to rinse and repeat here to continue to put that pressure on.
Another taunt is going to come on through here as Dr. trying to get a little bit of an answering damage, but Peter just utilizing his aftershock to make sure that he basically doesn't take damage.
Shen's early base stats, his early damage is actually really good too. So I mean, you can see he basically poked Diablo with that play. I mean, Diablo gets chunked a little bit here, and Diablo just has to sit back and catch these waves. He can't be aggressive the way he wants to. Look at how little damage he does here right now with just a tier and longsword and inventory on the Duckdom there with no empower on that arrow. Comet not really hitting too hard. Sponge is coming down here. This could be an opportunity, but there's a control ward in vision there.
Yeah, there's a scatter onto Peter, but Closer is going to throw down the ulti. Flash from Scout just doesn't want any part of this, and I do not blame him.
As we're going to see a TP back from the York to the top side
Scott
here.
udah muak.
Does have
I mean,
TP
look at his face.
Even an okay spot. At least that's what it looks like on the minimap.
Diablo. Sumpah, sadar gak? Ini 2 game, Diablo kemana aja, Cok? Perasaan yang tadi kita lihat tuh Kingen, Lehen, Scout, Kingen, Lehen, Scout, Kingen, Lehen, Scout.
I feel like he's too strong for like this early.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be like this.
Diablo kemana anjir?
He also has 3 biscuits in his inventory right now, so killing him is not going to be a fun time, and he's just always going to be winning these small wars of attrition here over Kingen, who did not teleport last time but will be forced to now, as there is a giant wave, a Yorick, and a Maiden smacking his turret. In fact, he's like trying not to back here. He's like, I got to deal with this right now. Gets the shockwave to help thin this wave out, but won't be able to deny that plate from going over, and Dudu is just going to stick around.
Yeah, just going to keep wailing on these minion waves. And it's Kingen that is going to go back home. Voidseeker comes down. There's a headbutt pulverized from Lehens, but he does. Okay, actually doesn't take the damage from the proc from Dr. Also going to be using the cleanse in this play as well. So summon a spell advantage here for Nongshim.
Dr. didn't have ult. He's going to have it pretty soon here with a few more minions going over. It's hard to punish Diablo right now because he's got flash and barrier, but we'll see what they can do here. Peter will also have his ult way faster than Lehens. He's a whole level down right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So he'll have that extra shield to play through if he does want to go for the super big shield on the big ult to come through.
Gue jadi kepikiran meme.
The crazy thing is that Diablo doesn't have
meme apa?
anymore. That was what was cleansed.
Meme Diablo selama match Kespa Cup ini. Diablo this entire Kespa Cup. Jadi Mecha Chameleon.
Utilizing that bot side advantage that the DN Supers had, and Lehen's not going to be allowed to go back home. That is so annoying.
This is really frustrating because they're losing this dragon, and they're not going to be able to make a cross map necessarily. The grubs are spawning now, and Sharvel can just sprint up to the top lane here to go for a contest. They have mid prio right now. The Jace is here first. They should be able to get at least one of these, but I think we're going to have a fight if they want to get more.
Yeah, let's see. Sharvel making his way over. Sponge going to get the smite on the second. So 2 grubs locked down. Nongshim just going to cut their losses and leave. That makes a lot of sense. Ghoulie Wall comes in. Dudu gets the stand united. The ghouls are called. And the taunt, it works onto King. And down he goes. Shoveled by Dudu. A second kill for DNS.
I don't understand why Kingen did that. He just walked into him. He went for a trade. And the Shen has ult. And that's a Yorick. And you're not going to win out on that one. Doesn't even flash. I'm a little perplexed.
Yeah, I mean, at least now has flash advantage. The unfortunate thing is he is very far from any sort of gold advantage. I guess Dudu is going to eliminate this wave as well.
I guess he thought his flash would, or that he could buy enough space there and didn't expect Dudu to flash to bring the Shen that much closer to him, but that was a bit strange for me, Atlas. Either way, I mean, now he's dead, no TP, so much money over to the Yorick. Like, he takes a 750 gold lead here, and now Kingen is going to have to fight him again just to get to his turret. Scott, you got to dodge this one.
Yeah, Spirit Rush comes down.
Gokil. Aduh, gak kena semua skillnya.
Doesn't hit the charm. Good movement there from Scout this time around, but he's still going to have to back away.
Yeah, he's going to have to TP back, and at least he does have his TP. Kingen,
wait a
making
second.
me nervous.
Yeah, Dudu's going to hit
sakit
the
damage-nya itu Jace.
Well. Does have to flash
tapi disedot.
away as the Maiden is still going to hunt him down. This Yorick is just unstoppable now.
He didn't flash earlier, died, had his flash to lose lane again, to lose more
Hey,
plates.
but at least he didn't die. Well,
that's true, because he would also have lost more of his turret if he won. And in fact, he's actually going to be able to stay here. He feels comfortable enough to thin out this wave right now. It's a cannon wave. Dogtom's going in.
Yeah, there's the Void Seeker. Killer Instinct comes on in, procs the passive, and Peter will call the sword.
You got a flash
and Diablo will go down.
Diablo.
He took a bit of damage there, but yeah.
Diablo tidur besok lempar jersey lagi.
It's not negotiable. Dogtom didn't have his cleanse up, but they're maybe going to try and turn this into a revenge play here with Scout coming down.
I don't think Peter's killable. I just don't think that it's a thing.
Tidur Diablo besok lempar jersey lagi.
This is like the kind of weird game that can happen in a stomp, right? Where you've lost all will to win this series. I'm not saying that's true. I don't want to be that extreme. I'm going a little bit hard on that sentence, but it feels like you're just making mistakes because it's so intense. Like everything is against you. You've lost control of this early game, and you're just making these small mistakes. You're trying to get small margins. You're trying to get small advantages. You don't want to lose your flash there. You think you can sidestep it, I guess. Maybe he just thought he didn't have enough damage to kill him, but Peter has flash, and he's going to use it. And we've just seen a few too many errors here in this early game from Nongshim, and some proactive plays are getting the punishes here. Speaking of, Dogtom looking for more.
Yeah, just going to chase after Diablo, and Diablo just going to have to get out of this lane. Wasn't expecting to see the Varus pushed away by Kaisa this early on.
They have mid-prio, and Sharvel is here. I mean, he just has to play respectfully. He has no flash.
Oh no, oh no, the charm's going to connect. Scout not going to die from it, but I mean, every time Closer just comes out of the fog of war, it is so dangerous. That flag and drag was weird. Sharvel didn't quite get the flag in the right spot.
Yes, bangkit dari kubur, bagus buat mainnya. Sengaruh ini ya jungle. Gue jadi penasaran game yang Sharvel debut dah. Gue nanti nonton LVK lah di sini arcade. Jadi penasaran debut Sharvel lawan apa. Soalnya pas debut gak se-OP ini Sharvel. Pas gantiin Piosik hari pertama tuh.
The cleanse to get rid of the chains of corruption.
Wah gila, respon macam itu Dogdom cepet banget.
And Sharvel makes his way in, massive value.
Gokil Sharvel, gokil. Udah 3-0 ya. Sedih banget. Kemana aja? Sinjonya ngapain aja nih?
As they end up winning the fight, getting 2 additional kills. It's 5-0. And man, we're near to the discussion about whether Grubs make a perfect game.
I knew you were gonna do it.
This is a bridge too far, but so much of this game has been that.
And Peter didn't even hit the taunt.
The Syndra's not even close to the lane. They have no control. No control on the map to be stepping up and trying to play this. Dogtom's ahead. He instantly cleanses here, flashes the outplay attempt from Lehens. And then now they just don't have enough people here. Like, Closer had so much prio, they're not playing the map.
Oh, Unleashed Power on a Closer. Did land the charm, though, on the Scout. Going to avoid any follow-up.
And
enggak, debut ininya, debut major region ya.
When Nongshim was in Casper Cup Finals
lawan apa ya? Kak, soalnya game pas debut di LCK, perasaan kalah deh dia nih. Sebelum dari pertama kali masuk di itu tier 1 tuh. Yang itu perasaan kalah matchnya soalnya. Lawan siapa dah? Katie apa? Bukan Katie deh, kan nggak di relay itu ya, di Price Group ya. Is it Nongshim?
They looked pretty good while they did it during that tournament. This is the DN Supers just, I mean, yeah, there's some dumb on here, you know, like there's a Sharvel.
It was Peanut who was on that Nongshim roster as the jungler back then on okay, Scout.
Yeah. Close looking for the angle, doesn't find the charm. Yeah, that was Peanut just freshly coming back from LGD, I'm pretty sure.
That's correct. He and Khan returned to face each other in that finals. Now, this is a big win here for Nongshim. They actually get a lot of control here on the top side of the map. It's a little too early for Herald, so DNS will have the opportunity to reset and look for a contest. But that was a very successful turnaround there on the newer pick onto the mid laner of Nongshim. Now, Dudu is a very big force to be reckoned with here. He's going to get the TP out of Scout. I don't know if he likes it.
Stand United. They're going to put him immediately in the goalie wall. Scout just has to flash immediately. He only just got here. And now he's down to 400 health. Dudu chasing after him. I mean, Peter's almost dead, but Scout gets hit by the E, and one shovel, and down goes the Syndra.
And on the cross, they do get this turret here, so there is some lifeblood here for Nongshim on the other side of the map, but this turret is going to go down in exchange for the second here for DNS. I mean, it's not going to go down right now, but it will on this next wave. I mean, this is a York. This is what he does. This is how
kelihatannya dia tinggal end stream sudah GG.
The Shen was exactly what he wanted to do, and it was a Syndra they used to defend, because neither of these soul laners are sturdy enough to do it, but I think maybe they should have opted out and just let the turret go. And it's a sad one here to end the series. Like, I want to celebrate DNS, but
yeah, lawan BFX ya. Kalahkan yang lawan BFX yang debut pertama.
Game we've seen of the three, and it's the one they needed the most because they're against
ternyata
the wall
bukan
here.
Diabel kok.
Not to mention,
emang
this is the composition they needed to play the best on at this stage, right? Like, the early game was so important for making sure this comp was going to get off the ground
Jangan
at
terlalu
all.
sering main LOL, tergila.
It's so comfortable for DNS to play. Outside of this bit, Docdom versus 2 is not exactly what they wanted to be seeing. As Diablo is able to get some plate money here in the mid lane. Peter moving his way back up. Sponge going to go in onto this Shen, but I don't know whether he really wants it. Ward does go down, and the DN Supers, with their 4,000 gold lead, still retain the defense.
Gue lagi bikin meme ini guys, meme case backup tuh.
Very big amount of pressure applied there to Dum-Dum. And because the mid turret was, or sorry, the bottom outer was already taken out by Dudu, he didn't have anything to play through here cross. So they are not able to get anything in return for Dum surviving there. But it's Nongshim with still a lot of power in this mid lane. The problem is there's nothing really to play through here, and with the drop of this Herald in the mid lane, they could just equalize this and take out the mid turret themselves. And where's the connecting play here for Nongshim? Like I said, without control on the map, without control on these objectives, they can't use their poke. They push mid, but there's no objective to fight for, so the timing of that win just doesn't feel that great.
Yeah, it just feels a bit strange. 2 minutes, like you were saying, on the Drake.
And here's that Herald I mentioned to take out mid.
Yeah. So Shelly going to get employed, and Sharvel actually going to go manual mode here as they look to try and get some knockups. They do not quite find them. Sharvel is just going to back away, so it is just the charge, some plate money, but not the turret just yet. And Dudu, I mean, there isn't an answer. Like, there is just not. Like, no one can handle the Dudu.
It's a big issue. Now they're trying to get this cannon wave to get over here to try to seize this turret. But the turret was a lot healthier than I actually thought before I made that comment about the Herald taking it out, and now they're just going to group to defend it. But now we're starting to see the split off here of the Ari, right? There's no outer turret here. She's going to stack this wave in. And for the DN Supers, all they need to do right now is hold on to their advantage. And it's a huge advantage. It's 5,000. They have the double dragon.
They would have been happy if this game was even. I still think that Dudu would have been a huge win condition regardless of whether they had this lead or not, but this lead is massive, like you say. And now Dudu goes for the reset, grabs himself a black cleaver. 2 items are now done, and his items are more expensive than his opponents. 1,500 gold to lead. And Docdom is still struggling here in this mid lane. Kai'Sa in this like mid 1v1 is always going to struggle a little bit, but just feels like it doesn't really matter too much, right? Level 11 now, that killer instinct is feeling real strong. Get him repositioned.
Bayangin tapi DNS gak bisa ikut World sih ya, udah kalah ya LCK-nya. Ini mah kalau kayak gini mah bisa playoff gak sih? Kalau misalkan bisa waktu bisa diulang kembali. Pengen lihat performa yang ini mereka masuk World deh. LEC doang mau dibantai ini mah. Sama beginian mah.
Max range, but not going to go for any more as the Spirit Rush is going to be used to get himself out of there. That is a Spirit Rush used just before this Drake, so maybe an opportunity for Nongshim to play around it, but they have no opportunity to get on in here, except for the fact that Kingan's teleported first. Dudu is going to take down this inner turret before he teleports into the fight potentially, and nothing has actually broken out just yet. Teleport back from Scout as well.
He just gets it, and Scout's going to TP in here, but to what? Like, he just TPs in.
Like, who cares that this Drake is going down from Nongshim?
They're going to get the inhibitor turret here if he doesn't respond quickly. He TP'd to the other direction where his team didn't need him, and now he has to walk slowly back up to try to defend this turret here. And because it's Double Dragon and Ocean Soul, DNS are like, I got the dragons I need. I don't need those ocean ones. They're not that helpful. And then this comp, frankly, they really aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be good for York, I suppose. If it was a close game, we might actually get some value out of it. But it's not. And DNS will actually be able to proc this Crystalline Overgrowth. It's a small one here. And take out this mid turret.
Land's not going to be able to stop the back there of Sharvel.
Bang, nge-kill bang. Udah 20 menit bang. Bang. Bang nge-kill bang. Udah 20 menit bang. Bang. Bang nge-kill. Akhirnya dapat kill. Lah enggak, masih gak dapat kill.
Taunt comes through, Orbit Deception is a lot of damage, and Sharvel's like, oh, you need my help? Okay,
Hello,
in I come.
No flash on Sponge, he is so dead.
Yeah, Flag and Drag comes on over, another taunt to set it up as Dudu just gives in the shovel one more time.
Sedih sih finalnya kayak gini sih, apaan tai.
And I still haven't seen
Kecewa sih.
the way that Nongshim are going to
Lebih
be
seru
able to
match T1 kemarin sih. Sebenarnya match T1 kemarin seru guys, cuma di pause mulu anjing. Ayo Nongshim, kamu juga bisa. Pause.
Their third
Do it.
game is their
Pause the game.
The one that has the least life, the one that has the least edges. Their toughest draft to pilot. But the one where they had, they opted for second pick and got those strong solo lanes, but they lost both. And that was largely without jungle intervention.
And this is the thing, that this is kind of the problem, right? When
Ini benar-benar final. Tahu seruan match T1 lah.
Was the fact that they have Dudu, who is just so good at getting counter picks, right? This guy's champion pool is just massive. And when he feels like he's in a positive matchup, he just looks so good. The Yorick here, a huge example of that. The Cassante also just brilliant. Giving this guy counter pick is so dangerous, but now Closer is going to get caught out. Sponge goes in, but docked up. He's right here. Peter is there as well. Sharvel shows up like everyone's here in the nick of time. And Nongshim just find no in.
Nothing they can do. Now, DNS are running a Kaisa composition with an Ahri mid lane, so they can't rush a Baron with this
21 menit no kill, bro. Gila.
For Nongshim.
So dua world champion musuhnya BTW.
This game is, their base is not going to get opened up right now.
Ada dua MVP world champion.
For Nongshim to, or for DNS to close this one out because
Gelo.
the compositions that we do
Sebusuk
have here.
itu jungle-nya Nongshim.
That means there's always a chance that a mistake could be made and they could find a punish. They have to be hunting, they have to be looking.
Metanya jungle berarti guys, emang patch ini kayaknya sih ngaruh banget cok jungle. Itu makanya tuh T1 kalah mulu. Owner kan lagi jelek.
What you can't see can't hurt you, surely.
But DNS are like, well, you can't do Baron.
Ngaruh banget Wak, jungle Wak.
So we're just gonna kind of be nearby. And we win the team fight 4v5, but also there's a York ending the game. So make your choice, pick your poison.
And there is just not a good option.
He's 3 levels down.
Yeah, Dudu is going to walk on over. He doesn't have a lot of magic resist built up just yet. He built a Sterix Gauge though. I think like about 2 minutes after he completed his Black Cleaver. Like, it's kind of absurd.
This is a little risky here. A little bit risky.
Charm going to connect onto Lehens. The Sponge looking for Peter. Does find that angle. They're looking for a turn, though. The Sponge throws down the Crescent Guard. Chasing Corruption go entirely wide as Dudu.
Langsung ke Diablo. Tapi langsung ke... Jago itu Jarpannya. Gak diem gitu. Dia udah nyekaratin Diablo, langsung nyari target lain, cu. Bagusnya Sharvel tuh. Dia tuh targetnya cepet. Jadi dia tadi udah Diablo kena damage, udah sekarat nih. Dia tuh langsung nyari yang lain. Gak diem anjir. Langsung nyari scout. Ngaruh banget jungle. Emang ngerugiin banget ya patch baru buat jungle. Metanya apa ya? Pokoknya jadi ngaruh banget tuh punya jungle busuk.
A DN supers that have this many tempo vibes. A DN supers that have this many tempo vibes. Well, like it is just
streamnya di take down guys.
How well this team is playing here in Daejeon.
One game.
Am I get taken down? Am I here, Chad?
Yep. That's it.
And now, Peter with the engage right
Takut
on top
di
of
take down.
Scout. He does manage to go golden, but Diablo, he doesn't
Enggak
have
kan?
that luxury. He gets towards his Nexus turret, so he might be able to live. The problem is, everyone else is dead, and even he's gonna go down. It's a double for Closer. The Pulverize to try and get Lehens out of there, but they are all put into the grave. The Charm
Udah
connects
kelar
on
guys,
the King,
3-0.
unfortunately, he runs
Nongshim cuma
really
ngekill
fast
1.
back towards the Ari and potentially to his doom.
Well.
The Fountain is going to be there, but he just cannot defend these Nexus turrets. And the DN Supers
This is the grand final?
out of their misery in Game 3 and claim the Casper Cup from rags to riches.
This is grand
The
final?
DN
Are you
Supers
kidding
will
me?
do it.
The DN Supers, the Kings, they lose again 0-3 in the grand finals.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is once again that result for Nongshim 5 years later.
Kayak di epic,
We
gue
do
ngapain
just need
kocak.
to champion the DN Supers, eliminated from LCK contention, down in their luck. And then this
Selamat buat
beautiful tournament
DNS,
crops up,
walaupun
gives them
kamu
a second
tereliminasi
chance,
gak bisa
another
ikut
lease on
World,
life. And
tapi
look at these
setidaknya
huge
menang
grins
Casper
on
Cup.
their
Let's
faces
fucking
as they hoist the
go.
trophy.
Terima kasih
What a
Disney
turnaround for this squad.
yang
It is
sudah
so
tidak
sad
nge-take
that
down
they-
stream ini. Terima kasih juga yang sudah nonton. Jangan lupa like dan subscribe. Jangan lupa follow Twitter dan Instagram gua, link in the description. Besok kita main wild trip lagi guys. Bye bye.